Well, that's a step in the right direction.
Hey everybody, we're back again. It's Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time it is where you are, but that's the time for now. And we're starting a little earlier, boys, 10 seconds earlier. We're not 5 minutes later. We're right on time. So better late than never. Thank you all for joining us here today. We're, of course, talking about Back to the Future. For a few of us, it's our very first time watching it. I kind of consider myself the very first time because I feel like I've only seen clips of this, and sitting down, watching it through its entirety, my gosh, what a pleasure. I mean, it's a classic for a reason. But Luke, this was his first time, but we also got our friend Bobby here from Hardcut, Ian Morrison, and World War Joe. They're seasoned fans. They love Back to the Future. And Ian, something great about Ian and Bobby, really, because last time I talked to both of them, their faces just lit up when I mentioned Back to the Future, especially Ian. I couldn't believe how excited Ian was to talk about this. So I'm glad we were able to get you on, Ian. We're going to have a great conversation. If this is your first time watching the channel, we appreciate you for joining us. The way we do this is I'm going to start off with a brief little summary about the film. If you haven't seen it yet already, of course, we're getting to spoilers. You know, this movie is 41 years old, people. But so we're going to get into different chapters. I break down the film into chapters. We're going to go through those chapters, analyze them, pick them apart. And we're also just going to talk about generalizations about the movie. And, we're all pretty passionate here. I'm definitely curious to hear the negatives that might be thrown because we have a lot of different minds on the table here. But before we get started, how's everybody doing? Thanks for joining me tonight.
Doing great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
great.
Fantastic.
Great. Good energy. No hate yet. That's good. I think we're all on
coming.
board for Back to the Future. Usually there's an outlier, somebody that's here to hate. But, it looks like it's hard to hate Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
Something I'm very disappointed in. I'm disappointed in myself for this reason. First off, I wish I would have watched this in its entirety a lot sooner. It's way too late now, but here we are. Luke, you too. Shame on us.
Oh, yeah.
And also shame on us because I'm pretty sure they were playing this in IMAX just a few months ago. And if they were, how did I miss that? Like, come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Am I right, Ian?
Yeah, they did. They did it last year, I think, just towards the end of summer, right into the holidays, because they also had Jaws in theaters last year as well for its big, I think, 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I saw Jaws.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It was a big thing last year, both these films. Both of them Steven Spielberg movies, by the way. One directed by him, one produced by him.
It's funny how you could just see it too. Like, even though this is just like produced by Spielberg, I could tell it's a Spielberg movie. It's really strange. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like it has this invisible charm to it.
Yeah, it's the whimsical feeling that he had in all the films that he was associated with back then, and throughout the 70s and 80s. He just has that, very childlike imagination feel that he brings to all of his films back then, whether he was directing or whether he was just involved in the producing part of it. He knew a good film when he saw one, especially with this one, because of like his friendship with the director Bob Zemeckis and the writer Bob Gale. It was a very different time in Hollywood where you had all these filmmakers that were very, they were a group. They were more than that. They were friends. They were collaborators. They were always connecting with each other, talking about each other's projects. Like, they would actually, hang out with other guys like Scorsese, Coppola, Milius, and just swap ideas around talking about their stuff. Lucas.
Man, I want to hang out with them. That is the bullpen. We were talking about us being the bullpen. That is the bullpen. Get me in that circle, man. That sounds awesome. That's cool. Sweet. Well, real quick, in case you haven't watched Back to the Future, let me give you just a little glimpse into what this story is before we go into detail. We follow teenager Marty McFly as he accidentally travels back to 1955, 20 years earlier, in Doc Brown's time-traveling DeLorean. Stuck in the past, he must reunite his parents before he erases his own existence, all while dodging his mom's advances and racing to get back to 1985 with a lightning bolt and 1.21 gigawatts. My bad, not 20 years, 30 years. Pretty big difference. And, my gosh, The mom is so insane in this. I absolutely loved watching her try to move on Marty. That added so much tension. Oh my gosh. It was a tough watch because of that. But
Leah Thompson, she had so much fun with that.
I see her at cons all the time. And I'm so glad now I finally watched the movie and it's like, okay, this is why you're special. Because she definitely she's a standout.
Like now I get it.
So we have like, this is a great panel. I really appreciate you guys coming on because I know you guys are big fans of Back to the Future. And that's what we like to have on here. You know, we want people that are passionate about a film, who are excited, who love the movie we're talking about. And I'm kind of wondering because, you know, Bobby, you know, I know you're a huge fan, and Ian, what was it about this movie that has had such an impact on your lives and maybe just as a movie watcher? Why is this movie special to you?
You want to go first?
Well, I already said something, so why don't you go first, Bobby?
Okay. So yeah, this movie came out in '85. I was too young to see it in theaters, but then back then, you know, movies they'd come out and then they'd hit HBO, and that was the next way to watch it, or you had to go rent it. So I think I was like, it's one of my earliest memories actually of like a movie, seeing something for the first time. So it was on HBO when I was probably like 5 years old, and my dad was like, "Hey, you got to check out this movie. This young kid in this movie, he likes to skateboard," because I had just gotten my first skateboard. And so I sat down to watch it. I'm like, this isn't a movie about a kid skateboarding. This is the coolest movie I've ever seen, you know. And that was my first introduction to like seeing a DeLorean, and then I became obsessed with that car for a very long time. And it's just something. It comes back to the writing and the little details that are present throughout the entire film that just goes to show like how much thought and craft went into just the story before, you know, the filmmakers even showed up. And I think that's just something that's kind of absent today in a lot of movies that try to be of this style or caliber.
I think that's definitely fair. I was surprised by how deep it actually went. And I mean, I feel like there was a lot I missed just watching it this first time. So I'm excited to hear what you guys maybe caught that I didn't. What were you going to say, World War Joe?
I was going to say, for me, it's definitely Marty's such a great hero. The soundtrack is probably top 5 of all time. I would go as far to put this trilogy on the Mount Rushmore of all time trilogies. Because I think the second and third one absolutely bangers as well, does everything right. It's one of those movies that's just perfectly written, and like you said, like the group of people that were involved in it, this is the core group that was just putting out all these movies back then, and it's just perfect.
For me, it's like I'd always heard about it when I was a kid. I didn't really see it until I was a teenager, and when I did, it just left such a huge impression. I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, so this is what Back to the Future is. And I'm like, man, this just has it all. This is a teenage fantasy of being able to go on this crazy adventure, but then it also has like, it's a coming of age story, you know? It's like this kid, Marty, is he's kind of unsure of himself at first, even though he doesn't seem very unsure of himself, but it's like with his music, he wants to be a big rock star and everything like that. But, you know, he feels like there's all this stuff going against him, whether it's his principal or, you know, his parents kind of being like losers from what he sees and experiences. But then he gets into this crazy adventure by accident with Doc Brown, going back in time and really seeing his parents in their prime, learning things about them that he never knew. His dad is an introvert creative, you know, and so he kind of connects with him on that level. He's a musician, his dad's a writer, but then he also realizes that his mom is the complete opposite of what she is when, you know, she's like, you know, when I was your age, I never called a boy, chased a boy, sat in a parked car with a boy. And then he finds out she's a complete hypocrite.
Yeah.
She was like, and it's like, it all, like you guys said, it's the passion that Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale had when they first said, you know, we want to do a time travel movie, but they never really figured out, well, what's the real story behind it? It can't just be about traveling to different points in time and stuff like that. And it wasn't until Bob Gale actually went to visit his parents in St. Louis, and he came across his dad's old high school yearbook. found out that his dad was the class president of his graduating class, and he remembered how in his they actually went to the same high school. So when he went to high school, the class president in his graduating class, he said he didn't really like him. He was kind of a jerk. And he said, what if I went to high school with my dad? Would I have been friends with him? And that's when this whole thing sparked. And then he started working on it with Zemeckis. And Zemeckis said, well, what if your mom also went to high school and she was like the, the weird, she was the girl who threw herself at every guy. She was the sex freak. Like
she
that.
Definitely is. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, to your point, when talking about Marty as a character, and what he goes through in the film. I mean, for me, it's always been George McFly's story, because he's the one that actually goes through the biggest transformation in the film. And I absolutely love that about it. He goes back and he has to get his parents back together. So he's almost like this. Marty's almost like this character that, like you said, he gains his confidence as well. But the arc you see George go through is like night and day, and that's what I love about it so much.
Yeah, I definitely think I personally do relate more to George as well. As a weird kid in high school who didn't really hang out with a whole lot of people. I was always that kind of kid like him who always sat by myself at lunch, kind of, drawing sketches and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, Bobby. It is really George McFly who goes through the most change, but mainly because without his son, he wouldn't go through that change.
Right. Yeah. You see Marty, he's got the girlfriend already. So he's like teaching his dad, stuff that he already knows how to do, and building confidence and everything. Cause he's already got, a good amount of confidence, but by the end that they become like a real family instead of just sitting around the table all bored with each other,
I guess with the sequels, that's where it becomes more, Marty becomes more the central person, mainly because
they give him the chicken thing.
Yeah.
Which you guys will see.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's the matter, McFly? You chicken?
Yeah, it's like something that didn't exist in the first film. They kind of have to give him like a little crutch for the second and third film, something for him to like overcome.
Sure.
So it's like, because the second and third one were shot back to back, and they were shot years later. So they were like, okay, let's give Marty some kind of arc that he could have over both films. That wasn't really present in the first one.
Yeah, he's kind of perfect at the end of the first one. It's like, where do you build him from there?
Right.
They didn't really, because they didn't really plan on having a sequel, even though they had that little moment at the end, that little early end credits sequence kind of thing.
Yeah, they had to reshoot that.
Man,
because they did it so many years later. They had to swap actresses out.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Hey, Bobby, do you think you like Claudia Wells better as Jennifer or Elizabeth Shue?
I actually like Claudia Wells better, and she gets more in the first film. Like the character going into the second film and third film, she's kind of an afterthought. In a way, like once. Like she goes with them on the beginning of the journey in the second one, but then she has to go through the whole house thing. But I'm just picturing that like as Claudia Wells, and I think I would just like Claudia Wells better, because Elizabeth Shue, I know her from so many other things. Yeah. And I can't unsee her. But when I was young, like these people were all like new and unknown to me. So I always think of Claudia Wells as Jennifer.
Yeah. I think I kind of grew to like Elizabeth Shue more as Jennifer, just because I always kind of had a bit of a crush on her.
Ooh. That tends to happen in these panel discussions.
And Elizabeth Shue she's great. She's great as Jennifer in the other ones. It's nothing taken away from her.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Claudia Wells is gorgeous too. I think it would have been great if they had kept her around, but of course she had to step back because she had to take care of her mom, who was going through some health issues at that time.
This is the actress that plays Jennifer? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah,
okay.
They swapped actresses.
They changed the actress. That's a shame.
Yeah, that's what for the second one, they reshot the whole intro. I'm sorry, the whole end of the first film, where Doc shows up with the flying car, and it's just Elizabeth Shue in place of Jennifer, and then the film just continues right from that moment. So,
okay, weird.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I didn't even really care at all. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, look at that, Jennifer's different, whatever. But
nice. It's funny how you don't really know. You just kind of accept those things when you're young. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or you don't even think, like, when that happens to me,
I mean,
I just think they're totally different characters at that point. Like, these are two different people here.
When did the second one come out? 89?
That's a long break.
Or I think it was like 4 years later or something.
Wow.
But I think I did see that in theaters, but I was like, I don't know, I was 8 or 9 years old. I didn't care that they swapped Jedi. Like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Because
I think the third one came out in like 90.
90, yeah. I think because they literally came out back to back because they were shot back to back.
That was the year I was born.
90.
There we go. Do the math, people. Let's see how old Ian is. Let's say hi to the chat real quick. Thank you all for joining us. If you have any thoughts while we're talking, please let us know. Our friend Rebel Rose is here. Evening, guys. Hello, Rebel. Good to see you. I guess you're not working right now. That's nice. Oh, Megan the Texan is here. Excited to hear your guys' thoughts. She'll be the naysayer. She probably hates Back to the Future, just like she hates the Never-Ending Story, which is the highlight of the year for me.
How you can hate that film?
Well, there's a understandable reason, I guess. I mean, I definitely see this as more likable than a Never-Ending Story.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I kept thinking actually when you were talking about
Never-Ending Story is overrated.
Yeah. How is it that Brawler likes Never-Ending Story, but he does not like Galaxy Quest?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Galaxy Quest is fantastic. I mean, but it's spoofing like a lot of stuff you might not have seen too. So
there's some screws loose here, Ian. That's why. So just accept that. Boaca's here. Good to see you, Boaca. Thanks for joining us. He is a member, everybody. Pretty exciting. Boaca, the member. Thank you for being a member. We're doing good. Doing good, Proctofile. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Man, Boca's got some select words as always. This movie would never be made in today's blue-haired land whale society.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Boca, he looks like one of the members of ZZ Top who also get to have a cameo in the third Back to the Future film.
Yep.
Man, all right. He'll probably take that as a compliment.
Great song too. They play a great song in the movie.
Boaca says, here's where I get banned from the show. I was 11 when this came out, and I thought it was just okay. Never really liked the second and third films. I was a kid and didn't look deep into everything.
He's banned.
Oh man, the second one too. It's not as good as the first one, but it's got such a unique style. Like a lot of the things that people talk about with these movies, with the trilogy, a lot of it actually comes from the second film. Like the hoverboard and just like
true.
A lot of things. Yeah. And then the third one is like just completely takes a left turn because it's a Western, but even though it sounds like it doesn't work, it still does. Like it takes all the tropes from the series and completes the story well. The third one is probably like, below the first two, but still, it is still like a fantastic trilogy. So
I honestly consider the third one to be my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
me too.
I've always been a big. Thank you, Joe. I've always been a big sucker for westerns. So, the fact.
It's definitely great.
Yeah, the fact that you combine time travel with westerns, I think they actually did that really great.
Oh yeah,
it's great how they have so many, like you said, the tropes from the first one are in the third one too. It's like, I know exactly what we're gonna get, what exactly is gonna happen in this scene because of it.
Oh yeah, cool. And just like character, like Michael J. Fox plays like how many characters does he play across the series? Like he plays like 2 or 3 different characters in the second one. He plays a few more in the third one. So it's just nice. Like they just continue those motifs across the entire trilogy, and it just feels like yes, it's the same filmmakers, the same team coming in. They're just doing it.
Oh, cool. You're spoiling a lot, guys. You're spoiling a lot.
We're not spoiling anything.
We haven't seen the other films.
Isn't it kind of crazy how we just said how yes, the same team worked on 3 of these movies, but in today's day and age, it's like, hey, we're gonna give one director $1 billion Star Wars franchise, and he's not gonna write the next one. Then we're gonna give it to someone else.
Don't bring that up.
Give it back to the first guy again.
That's the difference when something like this starts out as a passion project by, like 1 or 2, 2 passionate filmmakers, and then it becomes so successful, and then it becomes an IP brand that the studio just wants to, milk for as long as they can, as much money as they can get out of it. Thankfully, so far with Back to the Future, Zemeckis has been adamant for years that he is not going to let them do a remake.
Thank goodness.
Well, it's actually in the contract. Bob Gale and Zemeckis, they have it in the contract that as long as they're both still alive, no one is allowed to make another Back to the Future movie.
Well,
so that's why it's never even been floated, because they can't. It's
gonna happen.
Well, yeah, when they die, they're gonna
wait till they die. That's such a sad stipulation. Once they're dead, you can abuse their creative property.
That's why we have this trilogy, and it's been untouched for 30, 40 years.
Wow.
Let's hope they stay alive for another 30 years.
Yeah, we got to freeze them.
They have to live longer than us.
Maybe they could sign it over to their children and then just have them keep signing it over to the end of time.
But the children want the money, World War Joe. Duh.
Yeah,
they don't care about the art.
No, they don't.
No. Here, real quick, let me get to the first chapter here. So in the very beginning, the film opens on October 26, 1985 in Hill Valley, California. Marty McFly, of course, he's a laid-back 17-year-old high schooler who skateboards and plays guitar often and lives with a very dysfunctional family. There's George, who's the shy and timid failed author father to Marty. There's Lorraine, who is the alcoholic and nagging mother. He's got Dave, who is his slacking older brother, and Linda, who's also very cynical, and that's his sister. We don't really know much about their characters, and I don't think anybody's missing out with that either, except the parents, clearly. And after school, before getting brutally cock-blocked, Marty's girlfriend writes a love note to him before driving away, excited for their weekend trip approaching. So obviously in this very first chapter, I just want to focus on like an introduction to the family. And I'm kind of wondering what you guys think, because we get a very interesting character profile into how his family operates, what's wrong with them, how they function together. What do you guys think we're supposed to think of this dysfunctional family in this opening introduction?
Well, I mean, it's like, it's the typical parent relationship where they've come to the point in their marriage where it's just kind of dead. They don't really communicate, like you said. They don't really talk. They don't really enjoy doing stuff together. And the kids are now kind of like young adults. At least the older two are. Like, fun fact: the guy who plays the brother, Dave, the older brother, that's Jimmy Olsen from the original Superman movies with Christopher Reeve.
Oh.
And he's actually got to do a couple of cameos in the Snyder cut of Justice League a couple of years ago. He was like this policeman who, Lois Lane was giving coffee to at the memorial site for Superman. But like with this family, you see how George is letting Biff, the old bully from high school, now his boss, still walk over him because he's become so, he's just kind of gotten used to it. It's become routine, and he doesn't see any point in trying to push back. And then of course with Lorraine, you can see that she's depressed. She wishes maybe her life had turned out a little bit differently. And of course her brother is in jail. So and the kids just don't want to have anything to do with them. Obviously, they'd rather just probably go off and do their own thing. Especially Marty, you can tell he wishes he had different parents. And there's moments.
Yeah, the way he looks at his dad, like
he's so disappointed.
Not someone to look. Yeah, he's so disappointed in his dad.
It's kind of tough when the provider for the family is a pushover. I mean, that takes a toll on
Yeah.
everybody. I mean, kids are
Dad's
embarrassed.
just watching TV, and he's got like the most obnoxious laugh.
Yeah.
That was painful, man.
It's so satisfying.
That sounds like your real laugh, Bobby.
Yeah, it is.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, like, there's points in every kid's life at some point where they kind of look at their parents and think, man, I wish my parents were cooler. I wish there was my parents were different than this. But and then it's like you see how he realizes, like, well, my parents were completely different people. And it's like, that's what life does to you. It takes that optimism of youth away from you the older you get. and you see that that's where his parents are at this point in their relationship. And if things hadn't transpired like they had, who knows, maybe his parents would have, were pretty close to getting divorced or something.
Well, that's depressing. That just sounded so
it's
depressing.
A sad scene.
Parents are not talking, they're on the verge of getting divorced, your kids are a mess, and it's like, oh, I'm kind of sad now. I want to go hug my wife.
And then you get the little hint when like she's like, what was it, George? When you met me, you were bird watching? What? What, Lorraine? Yeah. And then you see he was hiding in a tree.
There's a lot of setting up.
A lot of setup that gets paid off.
I mean, well, that kind of makes me wonder, when that scene happened, I remember the dad, like when we go to the past and Marty gets hit by the car, the dad talks with, I think he talks to the daughter or whatever. And he said, like, that's like the like he's had this situation happen before. So does that mean somebody's been peeping up there in the tree before? He wasn't the first. That would be hilarious.
Well, you think about it. She had that window open pretty, pretty wide. Pretty good.
He was enjoying himself up there.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing.
She opened it up for everyone to see.
She doesn't just want fresh air.
No.
No.
But yeah, I mean, this is like in most films where you have exposition like this, it's done so badly. This, on the other hand, the exposition, you find out the way how Gale and Zemeckis wrote it, it was necessary for the story. But they do it in a way that makes it actually funny, makes it interesting to listen to. It doesn't feel, in some cases, it kind of does feel like they're telling too much to the audience, but they do it just enough to where when you see as the story progresses, it's like, okay, now I understand why they were telling all this stuff. But it's nice. It's still just great setup.
Well, here, I have a question about that. We're talking about Lorraine, obviously. This is when she's much younger, of course. It really surprised me, like in the intro, you see the older versions. That's just the young actors with like makeup and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They look pretty good. I thought that was pretty convincing.
Well, funny thing is, like, I saw this behind the scenes interview with her when she was doing the film, and she said how at the time her mom had come to basically visit her and was staying in her apartment while they were doing the movie, and she decided to come home one day in the makeup. And she said she walked in the door and said, "Hi, Mom," and her mom was like,
"Oh, crap." Nice face. That's good. That's a good prank. I like that. All these behind the scenes stories. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
But with her character, it's kind of funny because we see this dysfunctional family, and you look at her and the husband George, and you really wonder why they are together. Like, it doesn't really seem like they're into each other at all. They don't have any chemistry. I get that he fell out of a. I guess the reason back then was he fell out of a tree and then got hit by the car, right? Yeah. It wasn't another circumstance where he got hit by the car. Yeah. So why is it why is it that, they stuck together all this time, even though they really didn't have anything in common? Because, she is, wildly attracted to a lot of the manly, strong-willed characteristics that Marty has. But at this point in time, George has none of those, and he hasn't had any of those for the last 30 years. So why the hell is she still with him?
Gentlemen, let me tell you a little thing about love. It just comes to us at the oddest time. You might randomly fall in love with some extremely oddball, awkward woman, and you're like, you know what? I think she's the one. So you know what? She saw this guy fall out of a tree, get hit by a car, and she's one glance is all it took.
And it was also
your story, World War Joe.
Yes, I was peeping Tom in my way down.
Oh boy. But yeah, and it's also this little thing we find out called the Florence Nightingale effect, where nurses fall in love with their patients, as Doc Brown puts it.
Yep.
So that's a pretty easy way to kind of sum it up, because you kind of think to yourself, if Lorraine is more attracted to Marty because he's willing to stand up to guys like Biff, he's more outgoing, he's more competitive and more confident in himself, why would she have ever been interested in George? Yeah. Because we see he's just a complete introvert, but she says like how when she's older, she says how he was like a little lost puppy. So
yeah, and that's kind of how Marty is when he gets hit with the car too. He's just like sitting on her bed, and she's putting the moves on him, like the same way she probably did to George, and he's like backing away. He's not displaying that manliness or confidence in that moment. He doesn't do that until he actually goes to school, and then she just is like watching him the whole time, because now, like you said, that Florence Nightingale effect, she's just locked in on him. And then as the story goes on, he starts to display that manliness, and it just multiplies her interest in him even more, which makes his job 10 times harder, because now he has to get her into his actual dad.
Yeah.
Oh god!
Really like
Klein. He's a dream.
Calvin Klein. He's a dreamboat.
Oh my gosh! So I mean, we might as well talk about that.
But
now,
even in the diner, when he has George go in and say, like, tell her, you're her destiny, or whatever. Way early in the film, he does that, and then she has a moment where she looks at him like, oh, so. Just because he displays that tiny bit of confidence, she like forgets about Calvin Klein for 1 second, and then she's on George. And then of course he goes flying by, on his skateboard, fighting Biff, whatever.
Yeah, it was kind of weird how like George's advance in that moment, how it like sort of made a small difference, even though he sounded, really dumb in that moment.
Yeah, he put himself up.
Yeah, but I mean, she was instantly attached. Like, man, it ain't that easy. This guy, Marty got it crazy easy here anyway, even though he didn't want to be in that position.
Only in the movies, man. It's only that easy in the movies.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess here begs the question, and maybe we kind of answered this already, but what's so funny about this movie, of course, is I think my favorite part of the whole film is Marty's struggle with Lorraine, right? Because he's so off-put by her, reasonably so. But she's an attractive young lady, but that is his mom, of course. If she wasn't his mom, then this would be a very different story, right? But she's freaky, bruh. Why the hell is she so freaky? I mean, she slid his pants off while I was asleep.
Yeah.
And she was insisting on letting him spend the night in her room, and she grabs his leg, and she's calling him Cal because his Calvin Klein's written on his underwear, which she was obviously studying while he was asleep. Why is she so freaky?
Yeah,
That's just how they were back then, I guess.
but there's like there's no build up to it though. She instantly takes his pants off. There's no build up. It's just
man, that's why she fell in love with George. He was packing something down there.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's all the like I said before, it's all like this idea that when he's living with her when she's an adult in the 80s, she's one way, and he says at the beginning of the film, I get the standard lecture about how my mom would never go out with a guy on the weekend camping like I'm about to do with you, Jennifer, because I think the woman was born a nun. And then you find out, no, she wasn't.
She was freaky as hell, bro.
Yeah. I mean, what would you? Honestly, I was thinking about this earlier today. What do you guys think is weirder? Luke Skywalker and Leia kissing when we didn't know that they were brother and sister until the third film, or this, given that we know
this is way weirder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is weirder because at least one of these characters knows.
Yeah,
the other two didn't.
I think Leia did it to make Han jealous, so that's why.
She did. Yeah, and then of course Luke does that little.
That's like, he's so swag.
He's like,
eat it
up, Han Solo.
That's a great moment. I would have been cool with Luke Leia if they weren't siblings,
Yeah.
I think I would have accepted that, but of course that ruins it.
No, give me that movie. Keep the bloodline pure, man.
Yeah, but of course, Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher had more chemistry.
Yeah, that worked out a lot better. I loved these two. It was so much fun. I think this added so much tension as well. It added like it's totally its own flavor. I haven't really seen this sort of tension in anything else really. That tension is not in Star Wars. Nothing else really comes to mind with something like this, where a guy is like so obviously trying to avoid a girl that's utterly obsessed with him like this.
It's done for the comedy mainly. That's the main thing. Is like that's what's different from other stuff that you see now, where it's so, done for more perverse reasons.
Yeah,
where
true.
it's like Game of Thrones. You got the brother and sister. I tried watching the first episode, and when I saw that, I was like, no, thank you, I'm not interested in this. If it's gonna have that kind of mess in there, no thanks.
Oh yeah, no thanks.
Speaking of, sorry, no, go ahead.
Well, I mean, like this is mainly done for comedy, and because that he's trying to get his parents back together, and he feels like he has to use his mom's freaky deaky thoughts of him in order to make that work. But studios, when they were pitching this movie, they Bob, Gale, and Zemeckis were like trying to get this movie made for a couple of years, and they went to all these different studios, Columbia, Universal, even smaller studios, and they were like, nah, we're not interested in this. We're interested in more raunchier R-rated teen sex comedies. This isn't raunchy enough. You should try Disney. And they're like, eventually they're like, okay, let's take it to Disney. And they were like, what? Are you guys crazy? We're Disney. You got incest in this movie. We can't do this. And they're like, okay, we tried Disney.
Nice.
Yeah, so, but it's even Leah Thompson said how like she's always had a weird sense of humor, so she got the humor of it all. And it's just nowadays you would see something like that, and I'm pretty sure even back then people were like, oh no, come on, she kisses him. But then it's like,
it's like,
it's like in the back
my
of
brother.
your mind, but in the back of your mind, that it's mainly it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, duh. It's not pushing the message that you should kiss your mom or siblings.
Speaking of the comedy, for those of you who have just seen this for the first time, do you know that they shot a large chunk of the film with a different actor playing Marty?
Yep.
So
wow.
Eric Stoltz was. Do you know who Eric Stoltz is?
No.
Look him up. He's
Anaconda.
He's been around for a while. He's a big 80s actor, but he had a totally different look. They dressed him like all in black, and they shot like large chunks of this film. It's a lot of deleted scenes where you could find, and his approach to playing this character was way more serious. So it totally changed the chemistry and the dynamic of what's happening on screen, basically. And he was like very locked in, like, I don't think I should be playing this like kind of lighthearted funny. This is like a very serious moment. And he's, he really honed in on that. And they ended up shooting like 30% of the film or something.
Yeah, they already shot like 6 weeks of the film with him.
6 weeks of the film with him. And then all of a sudden it was like, this isn't working. And they fired him.
That's insane.
And they had to get they brought Michael J. Fox on, and it just it's an entirely different film. But you can go watch scenes with Eric Stoltz in it.
Yeah, because they had already
totally different film.
Yeah, because they had already they really wanted Michael J. Fox at first for the role, but he couldn't do it because he was on this show Family Ties, and they instead they decided to go with Eric Stoltz, and they tried to make it work, but it just wasn't, and they knew it, and they were like, okay, we really need Michael J. Fox. So they made a deal with the studio that was doing the show Family Ties with him. They're like, okay, he's got to do the show during the day, but he'll shoot the Back to the Future scenes with us at night.
Yeah.
So it's like,
his schedule was crazy.
Yeah, he was probably on like maybe like 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep.
Wow. Yeah. Good for him for taking the chance, right? I mean, this is his tentpole film. Other than Teen Wolf, right?
Well,
was Teen Wolf? That was a show. That was a movie or a show. I can't remember.
It was a movie. He was in the movie. Yeah.
But there was a series.
There's a show called Teen Wolf, but it's not about him.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the same name.
Of course, years later, he had movies like Stuart Little and Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Of course, those were voiceover work, because at that point, I guess his
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's had really started to kick in.
He got back into TV as well. He was on Spin City for a while. Yeah. So he was doing a lot of television again. I mean, he did a lot of movies like through the like mid to late 80s. But then he kind of fell off.
He actually just had a small part in the latest season of that show Shrinking on Apple TV with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, because like Harrison Ford's character in the show has gotten Parkinson's disease, so they kind of so they got so they decided to have little moments with Michael J. Fox's character and him.
Wow, that's cool.
The best is when, what was that show he was on HBO with Larry David, where he kept messing with him, and every time he did, you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's my Parkinson's. That's why I snapped the thing out of your hand." Oh, I'm tap dancing above your roof. It's because I have Parkinson's.
That's great. That's cool. Well, I'm glad they're able to find ways to, use him still, even though he has that awful disability. Gosh, here, real quick before we move on to the next chapter, a character who plays like such an important role in this movie, even though we don't spend much time with her, is Jennifer. And I wish we would have gotten more of her, but obviously it sounds like she's in the next two, so we don't have to worry much about that. But how does Marty's relationship with Jennifer add a lot of stakes and meaning to his desperate chase to return home?
I mean, he's obviously in love with her, and she's in love with him. I mean, they got something real going on. Of course, he wants to be with her. She also is always there to help boost his confidence and encourage him. When he's like unsure about trying to take his demos to a record company and get his music made, she's trying to remind him, hey, you're talented. You got a real gift here, and you should really put yourself out there. I mean, Doc says if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And they show real innocent teenage love, that or at least the idealized version of it in the films, but it feels real. You could tell they've been in a relationship for a while. It's genuine, and you just want to see him get back to her, if anything. You want to see him get back to his own time, because he doesn't fit in, and also he wants to get his parents back together so he can continue to exist. But the fact that he has a girlfriend, somebody that he actually loves to spend time with and cares about her, is an added bonus.
It's actually amazing that Marty turned out as well as he did, considering his parents. I mean, he's doing pretty well in 1985.
Oh yeah. I mean, he really doesn't act anything like them at all, and he doesn't look like them. So it's kind of hard to even believe that he's related to anybody in that house.
He's got Jennifer,
No,
he's
I believe
his dreams.
Yeah, because he's looking at his parents and saying, I don't want this existence. I don't want to be some loser that's getting bullied by his teenage bully well into his 40s and 50s. I want to be in a happy relationship, want to pursue my dreams. So I think he does these things almost in spite of them.
It's probably because of his relationship with Doc, I think, because it sounds like he spends more time with him and hanging out with him, helping out with his experiments. So in a way, Doc is really more of a father figure to him than his own dad is. He looks up to Doc because Doc, as eccentric as he is more outgoing and is very confident in trying to make his inventions work, even though they usually don't. But he still keeps trying. He doesn't give up. And so that's a very encouraging mentor figure for him, even though Bob Gale has gone on to say, if we made this movie now, a lot of people would be thinking, oh, is there something weird going on here?
Come on, like that's messed up. Come on, how can anybody think there's something weird between those two characters? I guess he is 17, right? I mean, he doesn't look 17 and he doesn't act 17, but he is 17.
Yeah, and there's the question, like, how did these two even like connect in the first place? But the way it's portrayed in the film, like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that unfortunately, because the culture has become more cynical, of course they would have, if they tried something like this today, they would think that something messed up was going on behind the scenes. But this is a much more innocent film during a much more innocent time.
I like innocent. Innocent is sweet, and it's we've all. We are all in that place and have, at one point in our life been in that place or have wanted to be in that place too, right? And I think that's something I love about his relationship he has with Jennifer, even though it's brief. I mean, he kind of closes the book at like such a perfect time before, he heads into the past where he's desperately trying to come back to the present because of her. I mean, he leaves off at such an interesting place. He's really happy with his girl. his girl, is supportive. I imagine she's really the only one truly supportive of him other than Doc. Doesn't seem like his family really cares much about his ambitions. And so that's pretty much his dream girl there, right? Yeah. And, he leaves on such a high note. The parting word that she loves him. It's implied that that's the first time she says that to him. So he's like so high in life at that moment. They have an exciting plan this weekend, and now all of a sudden he's stuck 30 years in the past. He doesn't really know if he's going to be able to get back to the present, and everything could totally be changed. The time travel could be different. He might be late. He might get there late, and he does not want to risk that. It's like so much is on the line with everything that happened. It's just that simple little interaction as they parted ways before he went back to the past. It's such a great way to kind of leave us wanting more. And it adds to that desperation to return, because there's a pot of gold back at home that he does not have much more time to seize before it floats away. So I love that. It's a great way to cap off the chapter. Real quick, let's talk to the chat real quick. We have a few super chats. Thank you, guys. We appreciate that. Let's start with at the top, who gave us the first one. Proctfile. Thank you, Proctfile. We appreciate your super chat. $5. Thank you very much, Proctfile. Fun trivia question. Do you guys know why so many scenes in this movie are filmed at night?
Because
is it because what you said, Michael J. Fox, at his schedule?
Yeah.
Wow.
Also because it's like, I'm pretty sure the budget on this movie was at that time it was a pretty decent sized budget, but compared to today, it would have been much lower, obviously. And the thing about films on certain budgets, nighttime is when most of it's shot at night, it's also to kind of hide the budget, like if it's a very low budget film. But obviously most of the budget went into the designs for the town, for the because they built that whole Hill Valley Square and everything like that. It's like they started off with the 50s version of it, and then they got all those scenes shot first, and then everything in the 80s when it becomes all grungy and a little bit more worn down, like all those businesses had to shut down, and then you got like run down theaters and stuff like that. They shot all that last.
Okay. The night shots, it hides the budget. That's a great point, Ian. And I think it's those night shots that are iconic with this too, right? Like the DeLorean scene at night. Yeah. That's awesome. It would not be the same if we were in, 7 a.m. in the morning, sun is out, birds are chirping. That totally screws everything up.
That's Dean Cundy, man. This one of the best DPs in the game.
Yep.
DP.
Yep.
And plus those visual effects that they did with the time travel really still, as dated as they are, they still hold up very well because it's very simplistic. There's not a lot of CGI used in this. And even like when you got the camera inside the DeLorean with Marty when he goes back in time, they said how like for a while they were really trying to figure out how is time travel gonna look when he does it, because in so many other films you see when a person is traveling through time, it's like some tunnel through stars, almost like going through light speed. And they thought like, what? Let's not do that. It's instantaneous. Who cares about what time travel looks like when you're going from one place? It's just make it like that. Because nobody cares about that.
Good points, Ian. Real quick, DP is director of photography. Is that right?
Yeah. DOP, director of photography. Cinematographer.
I don't know. I just don't know. So I heard you say DP. I was trying to figure out what you're talking about.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Okay, sorry about that.
we're joking.
I'm like, what's going on in this
DP, dick pics. I don't know. What are we talking about here?
Director
Back
of
to the Future.
Definitely not the latter.
Boica, member for 1 month. Thanks, Boica. For the love of everything holy, Holly Weird, stop having actors pretend to play musical instruments. Oof.
Well, I mean,
you don't think that worked too well with Marty, huh, Boica?
Well, he actually did train with a guitarist before the film, and for even the last few years, even in recent years, even with his Parkinson's, Michael J. Fox has actually performed playing guitar like on stage, like the songs from this film. Specifically, of course, Johnny Be Good. Like he was a couple of years ago, he was up on stage with Coldplay, doing this song with them. And while he can't really play as good as he used to, he still did a pretty decent job, with as best as he could. And it was crazy. People enjoy seeing him whenever they got the chance, doing that song. And he probably even showed up a couple of times when Huey Lewis was on tour performing his songs from this film. And by the way, when at the beginning when he's trying out with his band and the guy who says, "I'm afraid you're just too darn loud," you know who that is, right? That's Huey Lewis.
Huey.
Oh,
yep,
nice.
that's the guy who sings that song, "Power of Love." He's basically making fun of his own song.
That's good. I like that.
And that song he plays too even kind of has like a similar riff to music in the movie.
Yeah.
Like the
nice.
David
David Smart Jr. is here. Top tier film. Thanks, David. You're new. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. We got some more super chats here. We appreciate the super chats, people. Thanks very much. Your super chat pays for our movie rental. It was $5 today, so we already paid for the movie rental, guys. Thanks very much. MJF, Michael J. Fox, shook the dice for this movie. Now he's just shaking too soon. It is too soon, Mocha.
Yeah,
too soon.
Forever too soon.
Too soon, bro.
At least he doesn't stop himself. At least Michael J. Fox does make fun of his Parkinson's from time to time.
It's amazing what he's able to do with it. He's going to convention. He's signing autographs, taking pictures.
Yeah.
He hasn't stopped.
It's
like, pretty amazing.
It's like in Shrinking, in one of the episodes of Shrinking, he's sitting down with Harrison Ford and they talk about having Parkinson's, and he's like, how many voiceover, how many voice projection exercises can a man do? It's like you see him actually getting to have fun with this. As much as he's struggling with it, he still tries to make good use of it.
He's good in commercials. I always like seeing him in commercials. I think he brings a lot of spirit to those commercials. Rodin Life Productions, $4.99. Thanks, Rodin. Good to see you, man. I have a theory. Marty got caught being a juvenile delinquent, shoplifting or something, and was put in an after-school program helping the elderly. You're talking about that's how he met the doctor?
I could believe it.
I think that's what he's talking about. Yeah, because they never explain how the two of them met.
So they don't explain on the sequels either.
I remember hearing something. I don't know if it was from Zemeckis or Gale, but one of them said like they had their own idea of a backstory of how they met. Like he came across he somehow broke into Doc's lab in his garage or something like that, and then they kind of that's how they connected and stuff like that. So they have had their own backstory. They just never really made a big thing of it. And it honestly, you don't really need to know. You just know that clearly these guys, clearly this inventor and this kid have connected, and he's helping him out and he looks up to him and stuff like that. And then of course you have the principal telling him, Doc Brown is a real nutcase. You end up with him, you're going to end up in big trouble.
Yeah, even Strickland knows who he is. I mean, he's famous. He's famous.
Because apparently the Browns family was rich at one point. So they were like a staple in the Hill Valley community. But Doc Emmett is the last of them. And apparently he spent all their fortune on his inventions and his experiments.
Time machine. Yeah.
It's a cool background.
Yeah, he puts his entire fortune into building the flux capacitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had all that money too. I like that's a great like kind of almost subtle detail is when you go back to the past. You see he had a beautiful estate, and then you see, of course, in the present, it's kind of a bunch
garage.
Of crap. Yeah, so that's respectable. There's just a lot of reasons to root for him. We'll get to that later. I'm gonna save the next two super chats for later, guys. We've been talking about these for a bit. I want to get back on track, but I will answer them. I greatly appreciate your super chats. Let's get into the second chapter here because we've just gotten to the first chapter. We got a lot more to talk about, people. Let's get into the main event here, which is one of the more iconic moments in Back to the Future history. Is the introduction to Doc Brown, who is of course Marty's eccentric inventor friend. He pages him for a late night meeting at Twin Pines Mall, And when Marty arrives, he finds that Doc has built a time machine out of a DeLorean, the DMC-12, powered by plutonium stolen from Libyan terrorists, which sounds absolutely insane, and serves to be a terrible problem for Dr. Brown. Yeah. And Doc, he demonstrates the time circuits and the flux capacitor. He kind of gives us a little background about that while Marty is making a home movie of his demonstration. And what we pretty much learn here is time travel is possible when the DeLorean is driving at 88 miles per hour. And suddenly, while all of this amazing reveals and revelation of this awesome technology is awakening before Marty's eyes, the Libyans arrive, the terrorists, and they shoot Doc Brown dead as a skunk on the ground, dead. And they begin to chase Marty. And in panic, the DeLorean only has enough energy to last one trip. He starts driving, and he floors the DeLorean, hits the 88 miles per hour mark as he's, trying his best to evade oncoming fire, and he vanishes in a burst of light. And oh crap, he accidentally traveled back in time 30 years before to 1955. He did not mean to do that, and now he has no way of returning home. It's a very, very awful situation for him. So obviously, this is one of those sequences that is just universally recognized as iconic, right? I feel like anytime you see a movie montage, you see a snippet of this scene. Yeah. What makes it so iconic? Why is this such a powerful sequence that has remained relevant culturally today?
Well, it doesn't have that cheesy CGI look to it. It looks good. It looks clean when it blasts off into the future or the past.
The fire trails.
That's true.
Yeah. And it's also Christopher Lloyd's performance as Doc Brown. When he shows up on screen and he just immediately starts talking, doing his dialogue, he just steals the movie immediately. He just stands out. Christopher Lloyd, the guy just clearly, at first he didn't want to do the film. He thought it was a ridiculous idea. He thought it was stupid. He wanted to get back to doing stage. But, then he sort of decided, well, maybe I'll take a second look. And he thought, I think there is something here. And he basically, based his movements off of like a conductor or, leading an orchestra. That's why he's always doing those weird hand movements like, next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
And he just stares off.
So he clearly found out he had a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah.
And plus you see like the way how he does his hair, it's very similar to Einstein. So he's just going crazy.
Yeah,
with
it's
this
very
role.
mad scientist.
Yeah.
And also it's the first time, when he backs the DeLorean out of that truck and you see that thing for the first time, that is, no one had ever seen something like that before. Cause you think like, oh, it's a time machine. It's going to look like, something out of H.G. Wells or whatever. It's going to be some kind of weird looking thing, but it's like, no, it's the coolest car on the market right now. And that was just totally unexpected. I mean, he took a car that was already super cool and made it 10 times cooler. And
also like that wasn't what the time machine was originally going to be.
No.
Interestingly enough, they originally meant it to be a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like,
and it's like that would have been so lame.
Yeah, and it was Zemeckis who said, we need it to be something that that's mobile. It's more believable if it's something that can actually move rather than just something that's stationary. But the idea of a refrigerator, because it was like they had to sneak into a nuclear facility, government facility, and in order to access this time traveling refrigerator and go back in time. But they decided, let's do it with a car. But the idea of a refrigerator in a nuclear facility stuck with Steven Spielberg, apparently, because lo and behold, we actually got a moment in a film with a very famous moment, by the way, with a refrigerator in a nuclear facility. Do you guys know?
Indiana Jones, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. Yes. Or are you talking about Fallout?
No, I was talking about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Bobby was not happy by that reference. I love Fallout. The second season was disappointing. I won't lie.
I haven't seen it, so I can't judge.
Okay.
No, neither have I. So don't worry,
right.
Bobby. You're not the only one.
You guys are missing out. Yeah, I thought this was like, for me, it's just, there's just so much going on here. And I wondered, I just imagined that this was just totally revolutionary once this released. And I think there was like compounding value. I think a lot of the standout moments in this film are standout and special because they are very layered. Like there are steps, they're stepping stones that lead to a really strong payoff. You know, in the very beginning here, you have the beautiful vehicle reveal. And then this is complemented perfectly by, Christopher Lloyd's like vivid and expressive mad scientist flamboyancy about him, who reacts to the wonder and the promise of what this vehicle can do. And then at the same time, just moments afterwards, you see the DeLorean in action, and it's just totally wonderful and exciting. And really, I still can't think of anything I've seen quite like this. You know what I mean? It's really unique the way it just disappears into nothingness, leaving the fiery tire trail behind. And, it reappears again out of nowhere and out of thin air. It's just very unique. And I think it's just such a beautiful moment. And there's quite a few of these significant scenes that I'm excited to talk about later in the stream, because they just have so much compounding value. One thing happens, and then the next, and then the next, and all these things happen within a short a span of time, which adds and adds and adds, and then they have a quick little payoff to just pay off that little short run momentum. And this is just another one of those moments. I really enjoyed that. Why do you guys think that Marty and the Doc got along so well together, even though they are both really nothing alike?
I'm not sure if Doc has many friends or family. So I think I don't know. That's how I think they click. He just needs somebody to hang out with. And
I mean, if Marty has the coolest friend ever, an inventor that, deals with nuclear reactors and steals stuff from the Libyans, like that's every teenager's dream best friend. And then what does he tell him? Like, hey, come to this mall. We're going to play with a time machine. It's like, of course he's going to do that. So maybe I do kind of hope that we one day might get how these two met, though. The super chat.
No, you don't want that.
No, we don't. We don't need a prequel. we don't need a prequel film. That's the
if the same people that did these movies did a prequel,
that doesn't help either.
But that's the thing; they're not the same people anymore.
Yeah,
that's like Spielberg.
Peter Jackson is working on
the
next Lord of the Rings movie. That's not a good thing, by the way.
Yeah. Plus, like
the time has come and gone.
Yeah. Plus, you see how Zemeckis has been doing the last few years with his films, like that movie, Here. With
I was
Tom
curious
Hanks.
about that. Yeah,
I tried watching some of it, and I'm like, nah.
That's
as
Duke.
Interesting as it is, a film shot in one, with one camera from one angle, nah, who
it's
cares?
boring.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
That's weird. So what? It was one camera angle for the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah, just filming a room, and then you see them like over time.
Yeah, so you got
they're getting older.
Okay, maybe you guys are right that we don't need a prequel by this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
prequel could have happened.
Zemeckis fell off pretty hard.
Yeah, and
a while
also
ago.
he did that really bad Pinocchio live action remake with Tom Hanks as Geppetto.
Oh,
and Polar Express was absolute garbage.
What?
Okay. That's a cherished childhood
and he also
book.
did Beowulf.
Beowulf. You want to talk about Uncanny Valley? That is like, that movie's.
But that was early. That was early motion capture.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And he also did the Christmas Carol one with Jim Carrey, which was actually really good.
Wow, you don't like either of those, Bobby? What's wrong with you?
Well, they're just not good. I mean, Polar Express, that movie might as well just have a different name because it has nothing to do with the story it's based off of. It is entirely different. It's just this overly padded, ridiculous story. But he hasn't made a good movie since Castaway, as far as I'm concerned. So
the Terminal was good.
Terminal was great, yeah.
It was okay, but
it wasn't as good as Castaway.
It's not like iconic. He had a string of iconic films for a while, and then he started making more like mediocre stuff, and then now I don't care about him anymore.
Yeah. But then, of course, he also did Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's iconic. That's that's up there with some of the best films ever made. That's
all right. Here, let's get to these super chats again, and then we're gonna move on to the next chapter. I had a lot of good things to say about that. That's great. Boica again for $9.99. Thanks, Boica. $10. I always like seeing the orange. It just makes me happy when I see that. It's great. Boica says, please add The Last Starfighter to your list of upcoming reviews. It's a favorite, and as fantastical as it was more relatable than this film for kids in the 80s. Okay, The Last Starfighter. Maybe you've mentioned that before. That sounds familiar. Have any of you guys seen that?
Yes, that's a great one.
Who's in that?
No idea.
They're not as well known as these actors, but it's a great film. It's like a kid who loves this particular video game and then finds out that it's actually he gets taken out to space to basically do a real life version of this video game. So in a way,
I've never seen this before.
Yeah. The game is like planted as a way to find somebody who's worthy of being as good, so they take him to space. So the game is like part of this mission.
There's some freaky looking monster people in this.
Yeah. There's actually a book that was written a couple of years ago that's kind of sort of like a copy of this, called Armada. It was written by the author who did Ready Player One. Have any of you ever seen it?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Spielberg's finest.
Yeah.
I think that's actually better than people give it credit for. It's not
bad.
It's not like among like his earlier best, but I still love it.
It's still fun.
Yeah. Plus, you got all those crazy references, crossovers, and stuff.
Well, yeah, it's the first time we got like the DeLorean, the time machine DeLorean, on screen again, like in another movie.
Thank you again, Boca. We really appreciate that. That's very nice of you, as always. Appreciate your support. Road and Live Productions with another $5. Thank you, Road. Appreciate it. I saw you want to be called Rody in the chat, so we'll call you Rody. By the way, I do reviews of classic war films for Veterans Day. The next war movie you guys talk about, look me up. All right, man. That's good to know. We haven't talked about a war movie in a while.
Fury.
Yeah. Veterans Day. When is that? Is that coming up? Is that in May?
No, Veterans Day is November 11th.
Oh, we got a long time. I'm tripping.
Well, we got.
I don't know a lot of these holidays.
Memorial
there
Day
you go.
is
4th of July.
We got Memorial Day coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's like a World War II. Yeah, we'll get some good ones in there. Good to know, Road and Life. Thank you. Appreciate the $5 as always, man. Thanks very much. Proc File for $2. Have you guys seen Doc Brown explore Warner Brothers? No. Have you guys?
Was that like a behind the scenes thing where he was running around?
It must be like a skit or something.
It sounds familiar. It's been a while.
That's interesting. Of course, like they did have that Doc Brown cameo in A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
Where Seth MacFarlane walks in on him in his barn, and you got the time machine there, and he covers it up, and he's like, "What's that?"
Yeah. That's actually
I feel like I've seen him pop up in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, it works.
Yeah.
He really like. It's weird. He's looked old for so long.
I know.
Like he looked old in this.
He's wearing aged makeup there.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Well, you're right. When he was young, he still looked old.
But even in 1955, he kind of looks the same.
The first film I ever saw Christopher Lloyd in before this was Angels in the Outfield. Have any of you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm not.
No, I haven't seen that one. No.
Oh, it's a great one. You definitely love it.
All right, good to know. Cool. Well, might as well move on to the next chapter here. I think we're in the 3rd or 4th chapter here.
3rd.
Let me see if I can find a good picture for this. Oh yeah, I think we're here at this point.
Oh yeah.
Where we get to yes. All right, this is awesome. So Marty, at this point in time, he is now materialized in 1955 on the same stretch of road that will become the Twin Pines Mall. And he's very disoriented at this time, and he walks into the now pristine 1955 version of Hill Valley, which is full of vintage cars, 1950s fashion, and a courthouse square under renovation. It looks pretty different than how it was, 30 years later. And he stops at Lou's Cafe, where he orders a tab, which is, I guess, a soda. It shows you, like, I'm so excited to get into like the stuff that isn't even culturally relevant now, that they're making commentary on being culturally relevant in the 80s. It's crazy. But yeah, of course, Tab doesn't exist now. But at this point, he's stunned by the prices. Everything's way cheaper, and they also don't have access to these things. Tab didn't exist at this point in time in the 50s. So he's totally stunned, and he's even stunned even further by the hijinks he gets himself into at this point in time. He's in this diner, and he's kind of desperate to get out of Dodge. He wants to go back to the present time, back to the future. And he's sitting there at the diner, and he sees a young George McFly being bullied right there next to him. His dad is right there, and he had no idea. And, it's the perfect moment when Biff walks in the door. It's like, whoa, crap, that's Biff. That's the bully that's been screwing my dad for the last 30 years. He's young, and he's walking through the door. He calls McFly. He's like, oh, crap, you're talking about me? And he turns to his left, and it's his dad. It's like, how on earth? It's like, it's too perfect. It's destiny, right? And a lot of this movie comes down to destiny. So it's a very special moment. And it kind of freaks him out. He can't even believe that he's at this point in time. And he follows him. He follows George, and he's trying to figure out, what to do in this situation. I mean, you're seeing your father, and he's much younger, and he doesn't know who you are. It's a pretty strange situation. And while he's following him around, he catches him peeping on his mom in the tree, as we mentioned. And George, he falls out of the tree, and he's in the road when a car comes by, and he's supposed to get hit by the car. That's what happened in Marty's real timeline. That's how his parents met. But this time, Marty pushes George out of the way, his dad, because he doesn't want him to get hit by the car, and he gets hit instead. And that makes for a huge situation, big problem for him, as he wakes up in the McFly house while he's being tended by a teenage Lorraine Baines, who is his mom at that point in time. And she's got the hots for him, guys. She's got serious hots for him. Mm-hmm. And she starts calling him Calvin Klein because she read it on his underpants, which she was oodling at, I guess, because she had time to read his underpants that are purple. And Marty realizes that he's in a real pickle because he has just prevented the exact moment where his parents were supposed to meet for the very first time and begin the motion of falling in love at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. So very big situation, and it adds up to be a serious problem he has to tackle along the way. We kind of talked about this briefly earlier, and you guys know so much about the film. I bet you have quite a few you can mention here. What are some of the clever clues that the film injects into the past that are references of sort from the present? Do any come to mind from you guys?
Well, mainly just the whole part about how his mom is very in the present, in the 80s, she's very critical about his girlfriend calling him, saying like how I think it's horrible girls calling a boy. I would never have done that when I was your age. And it's like, then you find out that she's literally doing something that's in many ways a lot worse. She's putting the moves on him.
Oh gosh, some serious moves.
Yeah, she's taking off his clothes while he's asleep. This is some serious. And as the story progresses, you find out she becomes more of a stalker. A very obsessive stalker. She is like when they have that part where he's on the makeshift skateboard being chased around by Biff, and after they crash into the truck of manure and he gets out of there, her friends are like, where does he live? And she's like, I don't know, but I'm gonna find out.
Oh yeah.
It's like this is something that this is just creeper vibes that she's having, and then she has no idea the whole time you're doing this to your future son. And then of course, like,
it's a little disturbing.
Also, there's that moment when he's in their house, in her house, and they're sitting at the table, and you see the relationship that her parents had as well. In a way, it's kind of almost like the relationship that she's going to have with George. The wife is not quite as bitter as she is, but she's very much holding everything together because that's what was expected of mothers back then. The dad's trying to set up the TV and stuff, and they're all just sitting there at the table watching the TV while they eat. But then he's trying to get out of there, trying to get away from her while she's putting her hands on him. And then the dad's like, this kid's an idiot. His parents are probably idiots too.
Who the hell's JFK?
Yeah, JFK. He's making all these references. He says to Lorraine, if you ever have a kid like that, I'll disown you. And I was like, I bet that's probably true, because we never see or hear anything about her parents, about his grandparents when they're in the 80s. We just hear about the little brother that we actually get to see there in the house, the little baby Joey, and he's in the crib, and he says to him, so you're my Uncle Joey. Better get used to these bars.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many little moments in that section you just went over the film that are just callbacks from the beginning of the film. Like even, going back to the diner when Biff comes in and he says McFly or whatever, he has similar dialogue that he has 30 years in the present. It's just about like, oh, did you finish my homework? Right.
Hello.
Did you finish my homework? In the future, it's, did you finish up my report? It mirrors it so perfectly. So it's like the story just seamlessly continues, and you don't really have to, figure out this whole new dynamic. The dynamic has been the same for 30 years. You're literally just seeing now how everything just got to where it was in the present throughout the entire, rest of the film. And I think it's perfect how they set it up and pay that off. Little tiny little things like, Uncle Jailbird Joey, he sees the baby, like just little moments like that just tie it so well to the future.
It makes it so immersive in that way too, right? And I don't see, like, I say this a lot when we talk about movies. I've seen a lot of movies, like we talk about old films. I've seen a lot of old films. When we talk about them on the stream, I try to pick the ones we haven't seen because it's more interesting because we're watching it for the first time and we have a panel of people that know what they're talking about, right? But we've seen a lot. And I mean it when I say this. It's like this is another instance where I can't think of another film that gets it done quite as well as this, where it's able to just set up so many clever little clues and little hints like that are paid off throughout the movie. And it's not just like this beginning section where we see these strange little revelations. It's all throughout the movie. It's crazy. It's so clever, and it doesn't have to be, but it is. And that adds to the immersive value, right? Because you're working with two totally different time periods, even though it's the same place. And just some things I noticed that I took note of. It's funny, back in the present time, the clock is a big point of interest. They're collecting donations for it. It was destroyed all those years ago on this date. And here we are in the past, very close to that date, and the clock is working, right? That's a clever one. You have in the diner, Marty is he's sitting there and he sees the mayor, and the mayor is sweeping floors. And of course he speaks aloud at that moment of his dreams of being a leader, a great leader, right? He wants power. And perfect. Look at that. And he's running for mayor in the future. The Pine Woods Mall space, it used to literally be Pine Woods, and now in the future it's literally just Pine Woods Mall or whatever it's called. And then you have Marty's neighborhood. We get a good view of that. In the future, very well developed. In the past, it's nothing. It's flat land. It hasn't even been developed yet. And then, of course, you mentioned earlier, JFK Street. It doesn't exist because JFK hasn't been president yet.
Yeah.
So, and also
perfect.
Going also back to the... Oh, sorry.
Well, also like another reference when we get to Doc's house later on, and he tells him he's from the future. He says to him, so tell me, future boy, who's president of the United States in 1985? Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan?
The actor?
The actor?
Yeah.
Who's vice president? Jerry Lewis? because it's like you actually do see it when he first comes into the town. He walks by the theater and you have a poster for an old Western that was starring Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And it's like when... Go ahead, Bobby.
No. I was going to bring up a different point. I'll let you finish.
Well, it's like when the movie came out and Ronald Reagan saw the film, he got a kick out of that moment. And when they reference him, he actually thought it was pretty funny. And I can't remember exactly what what big event it was in the 80s, but there was an event where Ronald Reagan did repeat the line, "Where we're going, we don't need roads."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brawler, did you notice that? Okay, so like you said, it's like a pine farm or whatever, and he's at Twin Pines. Did you notice that when he goes back to the future at the end of the movie, it's now the Lone Pine Mall?
Because is it because he ran into
he ran over one of the pine trees, so now it's
right.
not Twin Pine, now it's the Lone Pine.
Great.
Just like those little details are fantastic.
I only know that because I read about it. Like because someone mentioned it, either Luke or Ty mentioned it while we were watching the movie.
Ty.
And that was a good call. I didn't know what you're talking about. Then I read about it. I'm like, oh crap! Like, look at that. That is a perfect little moment. Like, what a great little detail that I think any casual watcher will miss unless you watch it twice over.
And even Doc sets it up early. He's like, oh, this old man Peabody owned all of this. He had this strange idea of breeding pine trees. And it's like, it's so random, and you're like, what? Okay. And then when he goes back in time, he ends up on Peabody's farm, and then you see the pine. You see the genesis of what it turns into is now the Twin Pines Mall, and then it just comes full circle in the end. Like even this like innocuous little detail that it's not even relevant, but it's just it makes the world richer, and it makes those little details make it feel more real.
And also like how Marty finds ways of using that radiation suit. You know, like they when he crashes into that barn, the little kid with the comic book thinks it's a spaceship because it's like the car does look like a spaceship in a way. And then of course later on he uses, when his dad reveals that he's a science fiction theater nerd, and he tries to tell him go to the dance instead of going to watch science fiction theater. He's like, I'm just not ready to ask Lorraine out to the dance, and not you or anybody else on this planet is going to make me. And he's like, wait a minute, maybe I could use this. And he pretends to be an alien. He's got the...
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan.
Yeah. I crack up at that so many times.
Yeah, he uses that strange, suit to his advantage. And that was clever, right? I mean, it literally, come on, it was exactly like his comic or his book. It looked the same. It's like, I've never seen a radiation suit that looks like that. I mean, that's cool. That's way cooler than the ones we have.
Yeah, they probably just came up with it on, for that film or something.
They got to save that for the Backrooms movie, that's for sure.
Yeah.
How ironic, because like it's so small, but I think it's kind of funny. I don't think there's too many moments in this film where time is shown, where it's like clearly like there's things that just don't like relate anymore. But how ironic is it that in this movie, it's making commentary on a dated past, while also at the same time being ironic because much of the fashion and lingo of the 80s is severely outdated now. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, it's supposed to be, he's wild and he looks funny because he's wearing this. But, in the 80s, hey, we were all wearing that. Like, there's nothing wrong with us, but they think we're freaks. But now here we are, and he looks funny because we don't wear anything like that. But back then, it's commenting on how different it was in the 50s. And same for like the soda and the prices. It's just so funny how different it is.
Just wait till you see part 2.
I was going to say part 3.
It takes place in 2015, so.
Oh, yeah, right. Totally different.
And of course, that 2015 is the complete opposite of what we actually got.
Oh, yeah. It's very different. But it is fun seeing how they imagine going forward 30 years as opposed to, going back. And then the third one, of course, goes back 100 years.
Yeah.
Just hearing us talk about this, I'm way more excited to watch the sequel to this than I was the Matrix. I feel like there's a lot of Matrix movies. We just talked about that last week. I'm more interested in watching the sequel to this since there's so much positive.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got, the first one's still like the best, but the second one has so many iconic moments.
Yeah. Plus the second one, you get to see a young little Frodo Baggins in there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's got a little cameo.
Okay. Nice. Cameo. Great. So I love this scene, of this picture we're showing here of Marty meeting his dad. I think it's just brilliant. So I think it's brilliant because it's not just like an amazing moment. It's like very well crafted. What do you think makes Marty's sudden introduction to his father in this diner scene feel viscerally shocking? How is it that the movie is able to kind of emit the same shock from us as an audience, and we are feeling the same sort of level of shock as Marty is in this situation? How is it able to do that?
I think it's the same reaction any of us would have going back in time and seeing a young version of our dad sitting right next to us. And more importantly, that he's going to have to be involved in your mission.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where George becomes front and center here as like this. He's the main character now in terms of having to have the biggest arc in the film, So they really they milk this moment because it's so important. Where he's Marty's looking around and you see him popping around to the side of his face and he's what. They focus on it so much because this is the moment where you realize this story is going to now be between these two characters.
Yeah, and also it really solidifies for Marty that he's definitely not in the same time. He's not in this. He's no longer in the 80s. Just seeing his dad as a teenager,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like how could you react to something like that? It's impossible because you're so used to seeing your parents one way, and now it's like it's almost a totally different person that you're looking at. But this person. It's a confusing idea. It's like you said, Joe, how would any of us react to something like that? And of course, they don't even know who we are. To them, we're just a complete stranger. We haven't even been born yet. We, Marty and him are just they don't know. He knows who he is, but he doesn't know him. He just thinks he's some weird kid who's just shown up in town, probably moved there, and he's like, why are you looking at me like that? And he's like, you're George McFly. Yeah. Who are you? He's like, why are you acting so weird around me? I don't know you. And then of course it's like it's very real reaction right there. As overplayed as it is, kind of a little cheesy, it still feels very real.
Well, I think it's I was mentioning earlier, the compounding effect of payoffs and whatever else, right? There's so much momentum in this moment. Before he even runs into him, he's in total shock by everything that's going on around him, right? I mean, he's in a very strange situation. Everything is different. He's kind of he's literally in a state of shock, and he sits down. He plops down on the seat there. He doesn't know anything that's happening. He looks over. Well, first off, before that happens, he realizes that the guy there who's sweeping the floor is literally going to be the future mayor. That's freaky already. So you have that moment. That's a great little moment where we're like, oh, that's nice. And then secondly, you see Biff walk through the door. It's like, oh, crap. And then he calls out McFly. It's already crazy enough. We see Biff at this time, at this place where Marty's sitting down. And it's even crazier that he calls out McFly and he thinks it's him. It's not him. It's his dad, who he turns to his left and he sees that his dad is sitting there. And the two have an altercation just like what we saw 30 years later. And it's like, come on, how has there been, how could you not take away a lot from this? Because you see the bewilderment on Michael J. Fox's face and it just feels real. Like you said, it's a very real moment. And I think if it weren't for this compounding interest that built up in this 3 to 5 minute sequence here, it wouldn't have landed the same. They did a great job kind of overdrawing it a little bit. I love it. But here, let's get to the chats real quick before we move further into the next chapter. And I see we have a few more super chats. Great. Thank you, Boaco. We appreciate it as always. Boaco 462 for $1.99. People still wear Chucks 80 years later. What are Chucks?
Chuck Taylors.
Oh,
Converse.
Oh, okay. Nice. See, that shows you Chuck Taylors. What is that? I know Converse. Chuck Taylors.
It's Chuck Taylor All-Stars Converse.
Oh, okay.
That's the shoe. That's the name of the shoe.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for educating me. Are you wearing Chuck Taylors right now?
Okay. Well, yeah.
Oh. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
They're orange.
I like
that. They're not the tradition. They're not the
yeah.
traditional black.
Of course I am. What's wrong with you? Of course I'm wearing them. What else would I be wearing?
You don't have the Nike. You don't have the Nikes with the power laces.
No, unfortunately, I couldn't afford a real pair of those when they dropped those.
Is it Marty McFly that wears the moon boots?
He does the moon walk.
Oh, he does the moon walk. Who wears the moon? Is it the moon boots? Is that what they're called? They're padded. They're fluffy, kind of.
I think that
puffy. Who wears those?
Well, in the second one, he wears the Nike, the swoosh, but they're kind of
they're like shoes though, right?
They're shoes. They have power laces, so he hits a button and they suck to his feet.
Okay,
so
maybe that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking. Maybe I'm thinking of something else too, because I feel like I've heard moon boots before. It doesn't sound like that's it though. Oh, that's right. Procfos says Napoleon Dynamite. That's it. Duh.
Yeah.
Totally different. Totally different film. That's good. Thanks, Procfos. Thanks, Boaca. We appreciate it. And Boaca for another $4.99. Thanks, Boaca. We appreciate it. You're paying for a couple of our rentals here. That's always helpful.
Part 2 and 3.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
says,
there you go.
there you go. You just paid for all 3 Back to the Future rentals. Much appreciated, Boca.
Nice, Boca.
I've never liked time travel, not in this movie, and certainly not in the MCU. The only thing left is more questions. Consume. Don't ask why. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
not
think
a big fan
anyone.
of time travel
I
either.
don't think anyone claims that time travel in Back to the Future makes any sense. It's really just. It's not what the movie's about, so you just kind of.
Well, honestly, I think what they talk about, how they talk about time travel in this film, makes a lot more sense than whatever Mark Ruffalo was saying in in Endgame. It's like, you go back to the past, and then that past becomes like your present, and your future is now your past. I mean, I get it, but it sounds so confusing.
Yeah, it's you're only going in one direction, even though you're going through time. You're making change. But the second, it takes him all this time to slowly disappear as his, because he broke up his parents. So instead of him just disappearing out of existence, he still is able to have the time to get them together before he slowly fades away. And it's like, okay, what are the rules here with that? What does it take him? A week, 2 weeks to fade away? So it's kind of whatever. It's
it's not a science. This is not about science, people. It's just enjoy it. It's a fantasy.
It's more of a fantasy than anything else.
I'm glad. I don't need to focus on the science. I'm not a big fan of sci-fi that focuses on the science. I just want to see the wonders and the magic of sci-fi and crazy spaceships and technologies. You don't have to explain it. I don't really care.
I mean, what they do with the time travel aspect in the second film, I think is actually cooler because it implements pieces of the first film into the second one, and it does it in a way that kind of makes sense, and you go with it a little more. There's no I'm disappearing type thing. It's more of a cause and effect type thing in the second film.
Okay.
And it involved the third act of the first film is heavily featured in the second film, and I think it's really cool how they do it.
Wow. Okay. Sweet. Is there a point in time where Marty and his mom actually get together?
Oh
no.
A what if series of that?
Yeah, that's just something I don't want to see.
There's some interesting stuff with Marty's mom in the second film. I'll just leave that.
Oh gosh,
leave that out there.
You kind of sounded a little hopeful there.
Yeah, right. You're looking for that.
Keep it interesting.
Just keep me interested. That's all you gotta do. But I just really wanted to touch on a point though about the not overbearing science talk of this stuff. In the new Ghostbusters movie, the female version of it, they go so heavy on the try to explain everything of it. Meanwhile, the original, the line I think Bill Murray said was oh, we have a bunch of nuclear powered backpacks on us. And that's all the audience needed to know any science back then. We didn't need to be told
but
all
the
these
women know better than the men. Duh.
Exactly. It's why it made so much money.
They know the science. Gosh, that's why it made so much money. That's right. Particular critics here. Oh. Ty, 2015 was nothing like they predicted. I love that.
Yeah, it's true.
Man, that'd be crazy if we were in that place with hoverboards and stuff. Count me in. Count me in. I'm down. Well, let's go on to the next chapter here. Gosh, let me see. I gotta find it real quick. I see. We have another super chat here from Boaca. We'll get to that first. Boaca, 462 for $4.99. Thank you again, Boaca. You're great. You're awesome. We love you. Wonders in magic. I wonder how I got married. Magically had kids and thankfully got divorced from Satan. Oh my gosh. Boca's got the zingers. He's got the zingers, man. Divorced from Satan. Oh my gosh. How do we respond to that? I don't know. Thanks. Thanks for the awareness. What wonders in magic? I don't know what you're talking about there. Maybe wonders in magic of romance and courtship. Oh, that's funny. Nice, Boca. Well,
I think he's saying I think when he says divorce from Satan, he's talking about his wife. Or
Oh yeah, I know. I was just wondering what he was referencing. Duh, of course I know that. Oh, that's funny. All right, well, let's get to this next part here. I'm kind of wondering, I guess I just have a question overall. Why do you think Doc Brown is so crazy? Why? Like, you know, we see him in the past, and he's crazy in the past too. He's a mad scientist before he even learns that, you know, time travel can be done by his hand in the future. So do we have any reason to wonder or question how he got to be a mad scientist, where that itch came from? Is that ever revealed?
Well, in the somewhat, not much, but it's like in the third film, he's we actually get to see him fall in love with this girl, and they talk about their love of Jules Verne, and he said when he first read books like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Journey to the Center of the Earth, that's when he really wanted to become a scientist because of his fascination with those stories. And it's not that hard to think that being a kid who grew to love science and wanted to basically live out those adventures of science fiction at that time, that he kind of became very, either, kind of isolated in a way, but in a good way. His pursuit of trying to, find knowledge, trying to invent things and stuff like that. It's because how people like that, when they become very eccentric, they sort of become loners, and they don't really, it's hard for them to kind of connect with people and socialize. I know I've had that kind of thing, not, just as a guy who likes to draw and likes, movies and writing. So it's understandable how he's, still a bachelor. He's not married at this point. He doesn't have a family or anything. Doesn't really have a lot of friends, but it's because of his pursuit of, of science. That's what his passion is, and it's been like the main, the one thing that consumes all his time.
You have to show us some of your art sometime, Ian. That's cool. I'm glad you make art.
Well, you can see it on some of it on my Instagram.
Oh, there we go. Ian Morrison, everybody, check him out. Type in that Ian Morrison movie nutcase. Look at his art. Give him a thumbs up and like his stuff. I found the chapter. So it's kind of funny, when we talk about the movie, we jump around a little bit. So I kind of forget like where we are exactly. But in this place, Marty, he finally tracks down the young Dr. Brown. This is he's quite a different character than the way we see him in the very beginning. But nevertheless, Dr. Brown, he is thrilled by the concept of time travel still. But initially he thinks that Marty is just crazy, right? And Marty, he proves it to him by referencing, the doctor's aha moment he has on the toilet, that he had never yet told a soul. So that was like pretty eye-opening that, yeah, he is from the future. Like, why else would he know that story? And later, Marty, of course, takes him to see the DeLorean. And Dr. Brown, he explains that, of course, they have some constraints here. They don't have the plutonium. They don't have access to that. It's a very different point in time than the way it was, 30 years later. So they need to think of a clever way to go back to the future. And the way they figure out how to do that is they anticipate that a lightning will strike the Hill Valley Courthouse clock tower, which is referenced in that newspaper, which Marty thankfully has on hand. So they kind of have to start preparing for that. That's in a few days. And that's the only way that they're going to be able to generate the necessary power to make the return trip home. So pretty interesting situation here. They got to prepare that, and it's quite an extensive process. And worse yet, as if that's already a time constraint itself, because Marty destroyed his parents' meet cute, he's set to fade away. They were supposed to meet when Dad got hit by the car. He didn't get hit by the car. Now there's no reason for those two to ever get together. And he's starting to notice with Doc Brown, he's holding this photograph of him and his siblings, and his siblings start to fade away. And he's like, oh, crap. What's crazy about this is there is no perceived time to how long he has, right? Like the photo just kind of fades away. It doesn't really make sense how much time he has. It's a ticking time bomb that doesn't have like an end time. It could be any moment. And that adds quite a bit of tension here because he has to find a way to get his parents to fall in love again. And even worse yet, he has to try to get his mother off of his back to fall in love with another guy that doesn't have any qualities that she finds attractive. Very terrible situation. What do you think, like, how do you think the film sets up like clever constraints that go against Marty's mission due to the time period and the factors involved in, lack of resources and such?
Well, it's definitely like you have the whole thing with the plutonium. They can't, they can't get access to it. It's like Doc makes that little joke, makes that little line where he says, "I'm sure in 1985 plutonium is available in every corner drugstore." It's like, dude, you haven't even traveled to the future yet, so why would you assume that? But yeah, I mean, then they realize, well, we can use this lightning bolt to our advantage, and of course that's another great setup in the film that they had earlier, and but it also adds a lot more to the timetable, like the this is the only point in time where they're going to be able to send him back to the past. If they miss this lightning bolt and exact second that it hits the clock tower, that's it. As far as they know, that's it. For any other chance that he has of getting back to the future is non-existent.
Yeah. And then, Marty himself, he's got to now pass the time, and he's got to fit in. So, and he's got to do it while he's trying to get his parents back together. So he's got to go to high school, and now he gets to experience high school as a kid from 1985 now in 1955. And like they have that line when they're walking up to the school, like, wow, they really cleaned this place up. And it's like, no, that's how it originally looked. And now, it's shit now. And then he sees Strickland again. And like, I love how the principal just looks exactly the same. Like 30 years.
Yeah, we mentioned that. Yeah.
He's fantastic too. And you see, like, he's just been doing the same thing for 30 years.
That's like the classic teacher trope too. They always look the same. They're always old.
And like, while, Doc goes off and he's getting everything he needs to figure out how to take advantage of this lightning bolt situation, Marty now is just honed in on, I gotta get my dad to step up and do something that will get the attention of his mom. And George is kind of just like reluctantly accepting his help. He keeps asking him, like, why are you helping me? And he's giving him his answers, like, oh, I can't stand to see a guy like you, not be with a girl like that. And so that's his real challenge for the rest of the film. And he's like trying to devise all these little moments where she witnesses George being, heroic or masculine, or laying him out because he's like a bad guy or something, which probably coming in a later chapter, he sets up the whole thing with the dance with the car where they're going to stage like him grabbing Lorraine, and then he comes and lays him out. But obviously, doesn't go to plan. But it's like all these little tiny obstacles. And at the same time, while he's trying to get his parents back together, he pisses off the school bully, Biff. So now he's got Biff on his tail, who's also into his mom. So he's trying to like just navigate multiple angles of all these people to get his parents back together before that lightning bolt strikes.
Wow, I can't think of any other movies that have that many plot points going at it.
And they all work
one of them screws up, it's all over. Like if one of those things doesn't work out perfectly, it sucks. It's over for him.
Yeah, it's pretty clever, and it works too. It doesn't feel overwhelming. It's a lot. It's kind of a lot to wrap your head around, but it's not. It's not overwhelming, and it's not like super. It's not. It doesn't just go you crazy. It doesn't make you go crazy. No, it's understandable. Yeah, it's definitely more surface level. I'm kind of thinking of the Matrix a little bit, and how a lot of that was kind of a little too dense for me to really kind of get on board as much as I'd like to. I still like it, but when I think of these two, I just there was a lot of tension and build up in that film, and I had a hard time following everything going on, not compared to this, but they're made for totally different audiences as well. But why do you guys think that the fading family photo is such an effective visual ticking clock for the rest of the film? What makes that so like damning?
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It
applies a lot more pressure. Yeah.
It's like, I got to get them back together, because I think it sounded like a time thing. I think it's just Lorraine's interest in George fading away. So once it completely goes away, then the picture goes too.
It really shows that he can't make any more mistakes. Like, the more mistakes he makes, so he's it's a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, he could make it worse. You're right. Like, if he does the wrong thing trying to set them up, she might get turned off or something. And you can't really, obviously you can't control people's emotions. I mean, you're not even able to set people up like that, not for genuine connection. So that's not something you have control over. I mean, maybe you could possibly, but the chances are so slim. And it's crazy that he was even able to get them that opportunity, because that first time it was like such a godsend for George. There wouldn't be really any reason for him to ever even cross paths with her socially otherwise. So it's pretty crazy that they were able to engineer, the meet cute later on, even though it kind of went awry.
Yeah.
It wasn't, their initial setup, not what they were expecting, but yeah. So, well, we might as well go into the next chapter, unless there's a few chats here. Let's see what everybody says. Oh, Boca says Doc Brown was a taxi driver in New York first. He was downtrodden. Is that true? No way.
Did you ever see Taxi?
Yeah, he's talking about the show Taxi.
Oh, okay. You said Doc Brown. I'm like, come on, say Christopher Lloyd. I keep wanting to call him Leonard Nimoy. I am so close. I almost say that every time. It's really bad.
I don't remember when Leonard Nimoy was ever in a role where he acted as over the top as this.
Yeah.
Wait, you remember a role when he has, or you don't?
I said I don't remember.
Have you seen his music video about hobbits? You need to look it up.
Nimoy?
Yeah, it's real. Leonard Nimoy.
Never heard of it until now.
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah,
yes.
From the what was it, the 70s Hobbit cartoon or something?
Oh, really?
Was it part of that?
Yeah, he
that's
sang
funny.
the song or something.
Yeah,
interesting.
That's really funny. I love that. Nice. You just sprouted some interesting thoughts there. If you haven't seen that, everybody check it out. Here we go. Proctor says they added a parody of Back to the Future and Futurama. That's how Fry wound up being his own grandpa. That's funny. Nice. I've never watched that Futurama. I'd be kind of interested. Proctor says solid assessment, Joe. If it were a certain failure, then Marty would have vanished instantly. But if it relies on his mom's interest, that can be a bit more fluid.
That's why I'm here.
You're here for all the authentic insights.
Thank you.
Rodent Life going to bed. Good night. Sweet dreams, Rodent Life. Appreciate you. And you're wrong. I was a fan of Project Hail Mary. I'll take that every once in a while, Proctor Fall. I'll take the signs, but it's just not something I'm crazy about. I don't mind it though. I respect it if it's done right, and it's done very well in Project Hail Mary. Oh gosh, Boca for $2. He has to save the nuclear family. God forbid.
Well, at
nice.
least Boca spelled nuclear correct. I can't stand it when people say nuclear.
Oh yeah.
Everyone says nuclear, and I'm like, it's nuclear. It's that's how it's spelled.
So two different meanings of the word, and there's like two different spellings.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I guess I've never noticed the difference. I think I've always spelled it like this. That makes sense. Very, very different meanings, obviously.
No, it's that's how some people mispronounce it. Nuclear, And it's like, you got that part in Madagascar with the penguins. It's like, don't you mean nuclear? They're like, nuclear. I'm like, dude, you're saying it wrong.
Great. Now every time I have to say that word, I want to double take myself.
Yeah, man.
So in this next chapter, Marty, he tries to engineer his parents' meeting. He first scares George into asking Lorraine to the dance by dressing as Darth Vader, which is not Darth Vader, and he's threatening him. He scares the crap out of him, and George agrees to go along with the courtship because this alien from outer space has descended into his room and will. I think, what did he say? He was going to evaporate him or something? He was going to kill him or...
Last night, Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan and said, if I don't ask Lorraine out to the dance, that he'd melt my brain.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty terrifying.
Wow.
So, yeah, he listens.
Good, Ian.
He gets
with a
his
hair
balls up
dryer.
there.
I think he had a hair dryer on his belt.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, pretending it was a blaster.
Yeah.
Hey, it's convincing, right? It's the 50s. But yeah, George, he agrees to it. And unfortunately, though, he gets the opportunity to act on Lorraine in the diner again, and he's too timid. And he has like a brief little moment where, he keeps trying to read off, I'm your density. I'm your density. And he's trying to say destiny. And so I love Chris Gore and Film Threat. And I remember one of my favorite moments on one of their streams was he kept saying, I have your density to Alan. And it was the funniest thing ever. And I didn't know what that meant. And I guess he was referring to this. It was funny just as is before. Now I know. So now I'm glad I know. But he unfortunately, when George, he's kind of, loony with Lorraine and it doesn't get anywhere exactly. And, he starts to have a little bit of momentum in the end. But unfortunately, Biff walks into the scene and he pulls Marty into a physical altercation as he steps up to stand against Biff, the bully who's been screwing with his dad for too long. And while all this is going on, Marty, he continues having to dodge his mother's advances. She is utterly obsessed with him. And, through this sequence, he's trying to coach George on how to stand up to Biff and to win Lorraine's heart. And the plan, of course, is for George to be the one who saves Lorraine at the dance so the original meeting can be recreated at the dance. And, of course, this sequence is Marty is going to go to the dance with her, and they are going to be in the car. They're going to park, which means they're going to be naughty if they park. And he's supposed to get handsy, I guess, which is crazy. And she's supposed to be detesting him. And that's when George would come in and, hey, get your hands off her, get off. And he was supposed to be the big hero, but she would probably like that actually anyway. So it'd be interesting if, to see how that would have went. But my first question, which is a little unrelated, but at the same time, a bit related. I want to know what you guys think. Where do you think Marty gets his courage from? Because something I said out loud while watching this sequence in the diner when he stands up for his dad against Biff is he's got some balls on him, right? I mean, I was pretty surprised how he is totally willing to get in Biff's face, even though he's probably twice as heavy as him. He's twice as big as him. And it doesn't seem like there's much he could do, but every time he's got the courage to stand up to him. Where does it come from?
I think it goes, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I think it comes from watching his dad get bullied as an adult. Yeah. It's just, he's not going to punch Biff though, but he's still going to live his life thinking, well, I'm not going to have a fate like that.
He doesn't want to be his dad.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want people to walk over me like they do my dad. I don't want to make that same mistake. So he's determined to, basically be the exact opposite of his dad in every way. Like he's trying to be more confident in himself. He's trying to be more outgoing and have more fun with his life. But also if someone basically tries to intimidate him, he's going to push back. And of course, that plays into being a flaw in the next two films, as we talked about earlier. Like, yeah, he's trying to be strong. He's trying to be, tough and not take crap from anybody. But he's still, you see that becomes a bit more of a flaw for him as well as the stories, as the sequels come into play later.
He gets a little overconfident.
Yeah.
Do you think that line should have been explored at all? Maybe like his father asking him in the past, like, hey, well, how did you learn to become so confident? And they might just have that quick moment where he kind of explains it. Would that have been too on the nose if they did it?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's crazy how they in the future, the parents, don't recognize Marty. It's like, come on, he looked just like that. The mom would remember. There's no way she wouldn't remember. That is the biggest loose end in this whole film.
And also, they named him. No, I'm sorry. They named, exactly.
Not their first kid, their third kid.
Yeah.
But what's great about George is that he's, with the confidence thing, is he's got to come to it on his own. You know, the whole thing with Marty, that was the safe way to do it. When he sees that it's actually Biff, and you see in that moment, it's fantastic, where you see his balls literally drop in that moment, and when he lays Biff out, and it's one of the best moments in the entire film.
Yeah, he's got that look on his face. I mean, it's like he's amazed that he had that in him all this time. He's like, oh, I just punched out Biff with one hit. And it's like, he's such a frail, skinny-looking guy. Biff is more muscular, and yet he knocks him out in one punch. It's like, yeah, that's very unbelievable. But at the same time, it's so confidence building for him. And now he's just like, he turns to Lorraine. He's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, he's amazed at what he just did, and then he remembers what was just happening with her, and he's like, "Oh my God, are you all right?" And of course she's like, "I am now." she's like, now she really likes him, because now it's like, okay, now you're doing exactly what I'd like to see you do.
Yeah. Plus, like, when she kissed Marty in the car like 5 minutes earlier, there was a moment where she was like, "Oh, that was weird." Yeah, so it also helped that she did have that moment with Marty, because if that kiss hadn't happened, it probably would have turned out the same way. But that was also just like a little extra bit for Lorraine to truly just get Marty out of her view.
She's like, "I don't know what it is, but when I kiss you, it's like I'm kissing my brother."
And how does she know what that's
Have
like?
any of you guys heard that before?
I mean, I've heard the same, rejection, like, "You're like a brother to me."
Oh no, that's the worst. We hate that.
It is. I remember I told
Dubs
this
in the
girl,
chat, everybody. Dubs in the chat.
Yeah.
Help a brother out. Help a brother out.
It's like I remember it was years ago. I told a girl that I liked her. It was like maybe in middle school or something like that. And she's like, "Yeah, you're a nice guy, but you're like a brother to me."
Oh,
we've all gotten that.
Yeah, that's common.
It's like, just say you're a nice guy, but I'm not interested. That's bad enough.
The brother thing is way worse.
I had a girl say that to me in high school, and then she contacted me 10 years later, 30 pounds heavier and 2 kids and no father.
Of course.
There it is.
It's like, are you serious?
You're an asset now, World War Joe.
I had a similar thing.
You're prized goods.
Yeah, I had a similar thing happen. This girl, I actually did like her, and it seemed like she was the closest thing to a girlfriend that I ever had. But she had to move away because her parents got divorced. And then a couple of years later, I got a call from her, and I'm thinking like, maybe we could work it out. But it's like the only phone she had was her mom's house phone.
Oh,
and
how long ago was this?
This was like years ago. I was probably still in the last few years of high school.
Oh, okay.
She's like, I kept trying to talk to her, and her mom's like, "Don't call this number again."
Oh, man, this is literally a movie, bro. Man, we'll make a movie about you.
Oh yeah, great.
That's great. Cool, no, it'll be a passionate romance. We'll make it work. It'll be great.
Appreciate
and
it.
we'll have Jenna Ortega be your lucky lady. There you go.
Maybe.
You're stuck with her. You have to act with
I don't
her.
know.
By my wishes.
Nice. Maybe
I
wouldn't mind Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, there you go. All right, Ian was Sydney Sweeney. There you go. Brett Farkas, new friend. Thanks, Brett. $10. Haven't seen you before, Brett. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. This movie has 5 good endings, all in one movie: defeat the bully, play at the dance, travel to the future, rescue Doc, then fly off at the end. Most movies are content with 1 or 2 of those. Yeah, facts. Yeah, that's a lot of payoffs.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? It's not like a second, third act like we're used to now. You know what I mean? It's all paid off very, very graciously, and it just makes sense when it happens. It doesn't feel like they're trying too hard to please us, and they're trying to dispel belief. Like, really, they're not trying to gotcha. There's none of those kind of moments where they are really trying. If it happens, it's done well enough where you didn't see it coming, and it just feels comfortable. It feels like it's part of the plan. That's very respectable. 5 good endings in one movie. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And these are all like qualities that every young man wants, right? I mean, defeat the bully, be the star at the dance, be the center of attention at the dance. All your students and the students there think you're cool. Travel to the future. What young guy doesn't want to do that? Rescue, a mentor figure in your life. Everybody wants to do that. It could be a grandma, a parent, and then fly off into the sunset in the end and get the girl, right? I mean, come on. There you go as well. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing that we didn't touch on about what Marty's dealing with throughout his whole journey here, is that he's got it in the back of his mind that Doc dies. Yeah. And it's another thing that is weighing on him that he wants to tell him, and he's like, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. So he's got that additional thing that's weighing on him too.
Brett, you look like an actor. You look like you could be in one of these movies. Thanks for your $10, Brett. We appreciate it very much. Boica for $4.99 again. Thanks, Boica. What's the best character that was weaker? Wait. What's the best character that was weaker, tried to stand up to bullies, and failed? That's the most realistic. Are you asking what's the best character that was weaker, tried to stand
in any movie?
Yeah. Spider-Man, I guess. Well, no, that's a terrible example.
Spider-Man to Green Goblin.
Yeah, he was a bully.
Well, you still beat him.
Dude, don't mention Marvel, Jackson. Get that out of here.
I'm not talking about MCU Spider-Man. I'm talking about the only Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He's the only Spider-Man.
Well,
there hasn't been Spider-Man since Tobey Maguire.
Maybe
I think Andrew Garfield did a better job than.
Thank you, Ian. You and me about thank you,
Ian.
You'll
pay for that. You'll pay.
Hey,
I'll take my chances.
I understand.
Yes, you will.
I support that.
Well, I guess a good Marvel reference would be when Captain America was skinny and asthmatic, stand up to the bully.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, that is true.
True. Yeah. Well, you know what? Marty is a real underdog in this. Really, I mean, he only has the Doc at his side, and there's a lot going against him.
Yeah, but like I said, he's kind of the underdog. He's calm, cool, and collective a lot of this movie, and has a plan and really just maps the stuff out. And it doesn't matter how much bigger Biff is than him; he's still taking a shot at him.
Yeah. He definitely has more of an alpha male type feel to him. When you think about it, I mean, it's like Biff's
just like my man Bobby.
If Marty did actually have a one-on-one with Biff would just lay him out, because I mean,
I think so.
They almost get into that fight in the school, and it gets broken up, and then every other like confrontation between them is in some other fashion, like the car, like the skateboard on the car and everything. But then when he pulls him out of the car, he just tosses him to his goons, and then they throw him in the trunk, and Marty's dispatched in like 2 seconds, so it's that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah. True.
Marty seems scrappy to me. I think he'd really fight dirty.
Yeah.
He gets away with a lot.
He does.
He does some bad stuff too. I mean, he jacks up Biff. I mean, when he runs into the fertilizer truck or whatever that is, the manure truck, it's like, how do you come back from that?
I don't want to spoil it, but they do the exact same trope with the other 2 movies too.
And then they actually take that scene from the first movie and progress that actually in the second film in a really clever way.
Well, and then it keeps getting grosser with each one. It's like he literally ends up with manure in his mouth.
Oh, what? Oh my gosh! Wow,
it's gross.
I'm ready. All right, let's get on to the next sequence here. The next chapter. We have 2 chapters left, people. Stay with us. Let me pull up the picture here. I have happy picture. Good things are happening, people. But some negative happens before this. So at the high school dance, Marty, he parks outside with Lorraine, who is his mom, who is mightily ready to do something very naughty with him. And when she goes in for the kiss, of course, she's pampering herself up and she takes off her jacket and she's showing cleavage. And she's very interested in Marty. And, they're parking, which is very special in the 50s. You go and you park and then bad things happen. And when she goes in for the kiss, she is disgusted. Ew. It feels like she just kissed her brother. Blech. Bro zone, serious bro zone here. And the plan, of course, which we mentioned before, it really screws up because it's supposed to be Marty that interjects. All of this is really going wrong. I mean, Marty wasn't supposed to be kissed in this moment, but he was. And thankfully that was a turnoff enough. So now he is no longer part of the attractive equation for her. That's good. That was definitely a step towards getting the two back together. But now he doesn't have any reason for her to get upset, which would cause intervention from George. So that doesn't make any sense. But luckily, and also terribly, Biff steps up to the plate. Oh crap, Biff's here. He pulls I almost called him Michael. Marty. He pulls Marty out of the car and he starts doing bad stuff to Lorraine, his mom. And Marty, they throw him, Biff and his goons, they throw him in a trunk and he's stuck in there for a little bit trying to get out. And George, he goes along with the plan anyway, and he sees, oh crap, Biff is in the car. But nevertheless, although he's scared, he stands up to him and somehow he knocks him out cold, which is great. And quickly Lorraine falls in love with him, or at least, she's starting to feel the butterflies. Oh, my hero, my hero. And Marty, he gets free just in time. And the two are now real happy together. And George and Lorraine, they go to the dance, they start dancing. And Marty, well, funny enough, one of the band members, he screws up his hand. He can't play guitar anymore. So Marty steps in and he starts playing the guitar. And I guess through this moment, he invents rock and roll, which is funny. Yeah. So he is the start of that trend. Nice job, Marty. That's great. And there's a strange interaction between George and Lorraine because this ugly redheaded guy takes Lorraine from George, which is, pretty creepy. And at first, George is kind of being a baby about it. And then he eventually confronts her. And that's the saving grace, which restores the family photo and the two kiss. So very happy moment here. Unfortunately, we're still in a bit of trouble. The clock tower, they have this big plan. Once Marty's able to fix the issue with them two, he now has to try to escape. And he has a time constraint on his shoulders with that because the lightning's only going to strike the clock tower once, right? And he only has a few minutes before the lightning is set to strike. And unfortunately, the clock tower, it's got some technical difficulties to it, which we'll get to very soon, but we're not there just yet. So let's talk about Biff real quick, because obviously Biff is just bad news in this sequence. And I kind of wonder what you guys think, because Biff, he's he's the classic bad guy. He's classic 80s villain, right? What makes him such a awful yet likable villain?
Just the stupidity that he shows. It's like the
he's a tree.
Yeah, and get out of here.
Yeah.
Of course, he gets the joke wrong all the time, and but it's like you see that he's always been this bully to his dad that he is in the 80s. But then it's you see this even darker side to him, when he goes in, when he sees Lorraine in there and just starts basically assaulting her. Thankfully they don't see anything. And, you gotta remember, as much as Marty is weirded out by his mom coming on to him so strong, he's like, this is still my mom, and this guy who has been messing around with my dad is now doing something horrible to my mom, and he wants to protect her, but he's completely helpless now, because he's you got Biff's thuggish friends intervening and helping him out. But now when George shows up, he realizes and he sees what's going on and what Biff is doing to her. Biff's like, walk away and close the door, okay? Get out of here, McFly. But he sees Lorraine being so helpless and scared out of her mind. He's like, he's scared too. He knows Biff's bigger than him and stronger and would, probably beat him half to death. But he's like, I can't walk away from this. This is wrong. She may not like me. She doesn't have to, but I'm not just going to walk away and let him do this to her. So he's like, no, you leave her alone, Biff. You see, he's still scared. He's nervous, but he's pushing past that. And then, of course, Biff starts to, break his arm. She steps in and tries to stop him, and he knocks her to the ground. And that's basically what pushes George over the edge. And he's like, I'm done being bullied. I'm done letting this guy just mess with me. And especially, I'm not going to, it's one thing he messes with me, but I'm not going to let him do that to her. And he just, it's an unbelievable, result that he could lay him out in one punch like that. But it's
a big guy like that. I don't think so. Unless he hits him right.
Biff doesn't see it coming. He's just laughing.
Yeah, because it's like George has never ever done this before. He's just basically kind of every time he's like, okay, Biff, I'll get your homework to you. I'll get that to you, and whatever he tells him to do. But now it's like this is a completely different George. And it's as unbelievable as that punch is, it's the idea of him overcoming his fears and overcoming the insecurities because of how much he cares about her, cares about Lorraine, or at least just doesn't want to see her get hurt. Makes it so compelling.
Yeah, the audience is really with George in that moment, and when he hits him so hard, he spins around and slams into the car. And you just can't help but just be so excited and happy for him in that moment that he does that. And then Marty comes running up and sees the tail end of it, and it's like, perfect.
Yeah, he's such a douche. Like, it's such a terrible moment for him. And you don't see him do anything that bad, but I mean, that was bad when he was in the car with her.
Oh yeah.
Plus, he was drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was? He was drunk.
Yeah. You don't see him drinking. She says that he's drunk, but at least in the second one, you actually
see him drinking. Yeah.
Man. Well, something I think is kind of clever about this movie is a lot of it revolves around romance, right? But it's not a romance. It's not a romance. The movie isn't a romance. It's not a romantic comedy. It's got hints of romance, but a lot of it centers around romance and love and relationships. So why, how are they able to get away with that? How is it that this movie revolves around romance and love and the importance of relationships and connections and chemistry, even though that's not what this movie is trying to be?
I don't know. For me, it was always like a John Hughes movie or something, but this has this fantastical sci-fi element kind of just tacked on that is really cool. Where the John Hughes formula, it's a lot of those you can look at as it's just it's teen drama mixed in with a little comedy, and there's some romance mixed in there with that, and that formula was very popular in the 80s and the high school, and then this is kind of no different. It just takes that and sets it in a ridiculous scenario where he's just doing it instead of 1985, just now we're in 1955. And then you have these sci-fi elements kind of tacked on to the beginning end of the film that gives it much higher stakes. The fact that he might not exist because if he doesn't get his parents together. But I could see this as if you strip that away, this kind of works as a John Hughes movie.
Yep.
I've heard that name many times. I haven't seen any of his movies though.
Really?
You recommend them? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Geez, I mean, that's a laundry list of movies. But I mean, you've definitely seen movies he's written, even if he hasn't directed. You've seen Home Alone, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he wrote Home Alone. He's written lots of films, but he's directed
Breakfast
a
Club.
handful. He directed Breakfast Club,
Oh,
Pretty in
nice.
Pink.
Started out at National Lampoon.
Yeah. He wrote Christmas Vacation.
Mhm.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
He's the man.
He's the man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 80s, he became mostly known for teen comedies, or like teen rom-coms, stuff
Teen
like that.
sex comedies.
Yeah, and they all had elements of, some kind of elements of romance, high school romance, drama,
But
and everything.
They weren't necessarily teen sex
Yeah, I
comedies.
know. I'm
No.
just kidding. Oh, that's funny. Gosh. Okay. Well, I think it's just kind of that's a good point. It's like a subtlety, but so much, the romance and the love and the relationships, it does revolve around pretty much everything going on, right? I mean, Marty, he's trying to get back home to his girl who he loves. That's like the central reason for him to even go back. I mean, he doesn't even care about his family, and he's got Doc Brown here. Like, there's not much else to go home for other than that. So he's got his girl, that's love. And then he's trying to set up his parents, that's love. And, his mom is obsessed with him, that's lust, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of funny the way it plays. I think it's just real clever how it's sort of an underlying theme. It's not like pushed in your face. And I think if it was pushed in your face, that would turn so many people off. Because, like, this is obviously a kid's movie. And kids don't want to see romance. They'll be bleh, thinking about that. So they did a good job like straying from that. Like, would you call this a kids movie? Because they cuss a lot.
I
You don't
wouldn't
think it's a
call
kids
it
movie? There's like a bit of it. I feel like it's got like a kids vibe, but they cuss so much.
It's a teenage movie for me.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
Okay.
More so than kids. I mean, yeah, you can watch it with your family and stuff like that, with kids around, but it's mainly geared towards teenagers, and young adults. Because, like, remember, they tried to get it done for Disney. They tried to pitch it to them, and they're like, no, this has got some weird stuff in this, and then of course you had all these other studios, like I said earlier, that thought it wasn't raunchy enough. They're like, and so they were like, that's what the teenagers want, but it's like, this is actually, there's an audience for this. There's like teenagers, young adults, sci-fi geeks, romance, kind of crowd and stuff like that. But it's mainly a coming of age story, more so than romance. I mean, yeah, the romance is in there, but it's very subtle because it doesn't really play into the film until the very end, when when George and Lorraine finally get together officially.
Yeah, it's more so the setting up for that.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, because it's not really there the whole time, but they're setting it up. Okay, that's fair. What do you think it is? What do you think makes it so interesting watching George's courtship process throughout this movie? Why is it so exciting to see him and see how this turns out and where it goes with him along the way?
Because he's
he's awkward. I mean, for any
awkward.
Any teenage boy who's been in this scenario in high school, who's looked at a girl and hasn't had the balls to go ask her out, it's you see yourself in George basically. If you're that type of teenager where you're nervous, you don't know what to say to a girl, and this and Marty already kind of has that confidence, and he's guiding him to do it, and you're watching this like, is he going to be able to do it? How's he going to do it? And you kind of see yourself in that a little bit if you're that kind of high school kid who's just, I want to ask this girl out and I don't know, I'm afraid to do it. And
George is an introvert.
Yeah.
You don't see him hanging out with a lot of people. He doesn't really know how to connect. And you literally have people pinning a "kick me" sign on the back of his jacket and kicking him in the hallway.
And then the principal blames him.
It's like, you're a slacker. You want to be a slacker for the rest of your life? But yeah, it's like he's just awkward, and in the way how he acts and talks, he's like, I'm writing stories, science fiction stories about visitors coming down to Earth from other planets. It's like nobody else. You don't see anybody else acting like that. So he doesn't really fit in with anybody. So when he's trying to talk to Lorraine, you see him for a brief moment when that first time when Marty introduces them to each other, he tries to act all suave, like he's got his hand up
Puts
against
his hand
the wall,
up on the.
moving
She
in
looks
on
right
her.
past him.
Yeah, she doesn't even.
Yeah,
It's like he's not even there.
yeah.
So,
But you want to see him succeed because of, in spite of that.
Yeah, he's
it's nice he tries. You know, I feel like,
Yeah.
we've all been in that place, right? Where it's like scary and you don't know what to say, but you want to do something. And, you know, but you also don't want to go through that because it's like a scary process. So, yeah, definitely every guy has been through that at some
Yeah,
point.
it's like
right?
first love, right? You know,
And that's something we don't see. Gosh, wouldn't it be great to see more of that in movies? I would love that. That would be great. You know, a great movie that does that very well is D.I.D.I. Came out maybe 2 years ago. Ty and I saw it at a local like arts theater. My gosh, I love that. That's a great one. I loved it so much. It's like, you know, sort of a young man's, you know, coming of age story, like liking girls and, you know, getting older. And it's so real. I loved it. We both loved it. It was fantastic.
Another really good film that touches on this subject is one that actually came out in the exact same year that this part of the film is set in 1955 with Ernest Borgnine. It's called Marty. And it's like he's a guy in his mid-30s who's still single, and everyone in his neighborhood is like, Marty, when are you going to get married? And even his mom is trying to, you know, push him to go out there and meet a girl, and he's like, no, Mom, I'm going to be a bachelor for the rest of my life because girls, whenever I try to get one to like me, they just look at me like I'm a bug, and I don't want to get hurt anymore. But he ends up going to a local, you know, dance club, meets a nice girl who apparently she's in the same situation. She's not the prettiest. She's not like a bombshell, but she's nice, and you know, she's just decent enough to look at, but she's getting kind of left alone when she was on this date with this guy who clearly is not interested in her. He literally tries to pay Marty to, you know, take her off his hands, and he's like, you can't do that to a girl,
man.
But the guy just leaves her there anyways, and she's like crying her eyes out, and he basically comforts her. They spend the night together, and they actually kind of start to fall in love with each other.
Sorry, let's spend the night together.
Things get spicy.
Spent the night together can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, I got you.
Plus, it's the 50s. They would never have.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So this movie was made in the 50s, or it takes place in the 50s?
Yeah, it's an old film.
It was
okay.
made, it's a black and white film.
Wow. What's it called?
It's called Marty. It's like it was like the big movie that put Ernest Borgnine on the map and actually got him an Oscar for that performance. He's like, because he's not like the classic leading man. He's short.
I'm down to talk about that sometime.
Yeah. He's a short guy. He's not like handsome or anything like that, you know, but he's just a great actor. He's been in so many other films since then, like the Dirty Dozen. He was also, the last film he did was Red with Bruce Willis.
Oh, Red's fun.
Yeah, he's the old guy in the archives and the CIA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's good. Yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's not a big role, but recognizable.
He's phenomenal in Poseidon Adventure too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in that too.
Okay, great. Real quick, last question before we move it in the next chapter. I thought this one was kind of interesting. So, how does George's transformation during the dance serve as the emotional payoff for the entire 1955 section? Because, you know, remember, he's like, you know, we get a pretty big moment where he, of course, saves her from Biff, and like that's great. But then his this big arc is finally realized during this dance scene when the redhead takes his girl, and he has to make a choice if he's going to revert back to his cowardly fashion or if he's going to stand up to the bad guy and save the girl, and he chooses to do that.
Yeah, because
so how does George's transformation serve as this like big emotional payoff here?
Well, because he's probably thinking like, I just walloped the biggest guy in this high school. I knocked him out with one punch, and I'm literally going to let this, you know, skinny little, you know, guy just step in and take Lorraine away from me and walk away like that?
Scram, McFly.
Yeah. And then, of course, he's like, excuse me, and just pushes him to the side because he's like, if I can punch out Biff, the guy who's been messing with my life for years, this guy's nobody.
Yeah, Marty was the youngest of the children, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they made the first kid that night. Imagine Lorraine's feelings like, wow, this guy literally saved me from getting assaulted.
So basically, you're saying is that the oldest brother, David, is 30 years old in the film?
Am I?
I don't know. I guess he doesn't look that old, but he looks like he's. I don't know. He looks like he's mid to late 20s.
Yeah, because none of these high schoolers are actual high schoolers.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, I want to do does the
17.
timeline actually map out with that?
I don't think so. I don't. Maybe
29.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks like he's 29. So yeah, there you go. Not bad. Maybe so.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
What better time to find more courage?
He found some courage, all right. Yeah, all the courage of that one day. Real quick, I see. Oh, Boica, none of the Spider-Man actors were good. And before you say Toby, what's he done since? It doesn't matter. He was great as he was the best and only Spider-Man, and he doesn't even need to do anything after that. It was such a strong role that he just, he held up his hat and he's like, I'm good, guys. That's it. Like, look at this. Look at this as my greatest work. Hey, he was in Brothers. Brothers is great. Let's see, what else has he been? He hasn't been in much. I want more, Boica. Trust me. I want way more. I want more.
In Great Gatsby.
Yeah, small role.
The chess movie was really good.
Oh yeah, Pawns of Sacrifice.
Something like that. Yeah.
Cider House Rules for you, John Irving fans.
Ooh.
Oh man, that is. Oh man, is that the one where he's in the orphanage?
Yeah.
I only watched that. Yeah, I only watched that once, and I didn't want to see it again after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I like this, Boica. I believe in Danny Kaye and White Christmas over more than any of today's leading actors. Hell yeah, man.
Yep, the original Walter Mitty too.
I like this. Project File, he's spitting some facts, people. The road to success is paved with failure. Just got to suck it up, try again, and hope you learn something earlier. There you go. I guess that's kind of referring to like his story of love here. I also liked what Project File said here. I think this is very valid. Very unlikely that he would have been able to knock him out, but if he caught him while he was laughing and his jaw was loose, maybe. That's a good point. I can see that.
Yeah, it's kind of a sucker punch.
And he's totally unaware of it, right? Like he did not think anything was going to happen.
Plus, again, he was drunk.
And he's drunk. He's drunk as a skunk. And
he was still fast enough to catch George's first punch, though, when he swings his arm like him.
That was pretty. Well, that wasn't even really a punch.
Yeah, that was just
like a little. That was like a little, barely a hand extension.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, $2 for Boica. See, you're scrambling for Toby roles. Just because, I want more Toby. Everybody wants more Toby, Boica. We all do. It's not our fault. He's not in movies. It's not my fault. I fully support it, and I think all Toby fans do.
If you've ever seen,
he's like the McRib. He comes around when he needs to.
His role in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is pretty great. If you've ever seen that,
he was also the voice of that beagle in Cats and Dogs. You've ever seen that?
What a small role. How do you even know that?
I mean,
that was a good one.
What about the one where he cuddles with RDJ?
Oh no! Yikes! That was Tropic Thunder. Yeah.
Oh, that was Tropic Thunder. Oh wow.
Yeah. That was gross.
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's messed up.
Wait. Parcel says, "Bruh, he's been in at least one movie a year since Spider-Man. What are you talking about? Name them, Project File. I want to know. I know he was in that one with what's her face, Margot Robbie. Since then, I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I think he was in a show. He was in a series.
Or he was like
I don't know if the show released or not, but I think it was an Apple series. Maybe it hasn't come out yet, but I know he is in an Apple series.
As much as I want to defend Tobey Maguire, we are not doing a good job. We are scrambling to find titles. We're describing the plot line. Boica might have a point there, guys. He done Spider-Man.
We want more, Boica. People want more, including me.
But everybody
want more. It's not our fault that he's not in more roles.
Here, let's get Charlemagne and deal with it.
Just take Timothy. Just take Timmy.
Well,
Oh
at
gosh!
least,
Here,
it
let me
sounds
get
like
to
we-
the let me get to the next chapter here
Yeah.
before we keep talking about Tobey Maguire.
They're
Let's
making
see.
Wonka too.
Oh fuck.
Wonka 2, people. Wonka 2. I enjoyed Wonka 1.
Oh jeez.
No. All right, that's a no from Bobby.
With the one with
All
Gene
right.
Wilder?
Oh, yeah, there
That's
you go.
Wonka 1.
I love Wonka 1 then. That's
Yeah.
I love
I don't
that's one
see
of my
how,
favorite
how
movies, man.
Timothy Chalamet turns into Gene Wilder. I just don't. I didn't buy any of that.
They wanted, apparently fans actually wanted the actor from The Bear to
Yeah.
play.
Oh,
you-
yeah.
He would have been
literally have
perfect.
the guy that looks like just like him.
The guy
He
that
would
looks
have
like
been
Gene
great.
Wilder. Yeah.
That would have been fun. So, all right, here we are. We got 2 chapters left, people. Bear with us. So, at this point, Marty, he is now, the storm is raging, and thankfully his parents are made up. He is no longer fading into inexistence, and he's running out of time, though. So, he is racing to get to the DeLorean as the storm is raging, like I said. And unfortunately, Dr. Brown, he is really struggling to connect the cables on the clock tower. And it's a very dangerous situation being all the way up there. And you know what? Respect to him for going up there and risking his life for this. I mean, all this to help this boy out. Pretty special situation, pretty special guy for doing that. And they are pretty much gearing up for the lightning to strike exactly on schedule. I mean, who knows if it will strike at the right moment, at the right time. And there is so much drama happening in the background as, the car won't start. Marty is desperately trying to tell the doctor that, you better watch out in the future or else you're going to die. Take this note. And he won't take the note, which explains the situation. And, the doc up in the clock tower, he's like stumbling and he almost falls off several times, and he's on death's door nearly. It's a very risky situation, yet at the end of the day they successfully extract, and Marty was able to disappear in a blaze of fire, and he successfully returns to 1985. And thankfully he overshoots the date slightly, and he arrives at the Twin Pines Mall yet again. And unfortunately, even though he got there early because he wanted to save Dr. Brown. Too late. He gets there right in the nick of time. Dr. Brown gets shot down. Really sad. And like, oh crap, Dr. Brown's dead again. It's like all this was for nothing almost. But no, he's alive. And he actually kept the note that Marty had wrote to him, which he had torn up. He just taped it together. And because of that note, he decided to wear a bulletproof vest, and he survived. And from this point forward, he races home. He expects the worst, only to discover a radically improved 1985. So pretty happy ending there. We're going to talk about how his home turned out after this, so bear with us. But, just considering this chapter and the discussion here, how do you think the filmmakers were able to create such an intense escape sequence through Marty's last-ditch effort to head back to the future with the clock tower and the car not working and such? Why was that so effective?
It just adds to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it just adds to the suspense, because that there's only just a short amount of time between when that lightning strikes and him not being able to get back home. It's got to be precise. It's got to be, there's no room for mistakes here. They have to get everything ready, and it looks like they have, but then of course they forget, well, this is happening in the middle of a storm, and storms are chaos, which means accidents can happen. And then you got that tree branch that falls down and basically messes up their plan that they've already got set up, something they didn't account for. Is like, as much as they know specific details about how, like what time the lightning strikes, where it's going to strike, and there's still some things that happen out of nowhere that they couldn't have seen, couldn't have accounted for, like a tree branch being knocked over by the wind and messing up the cable line. And so they gotta fix it, and they gotta basically do it by hand, and Doc has to do it on his own. He's like, you got to get to the car. You don't have much time left. I'll take care of this. You go. And of course, with Marty, he just wants to tell him before he leaves, you're going to get killed. You're going to die. And I don't want that to happen. He's like, but it's like he can't hear him be over the storm and everything like that. And he's like, just go, you don't have time left. It adds to the intensity of the scene. And then of course he's like, well, what if I go back a few minutes earlier? And you think, okay, that's a little bit of relief for the audience. But of course, you still see Doc struggling to get the cable reset, and then it's like he's got it connected on his end, but then that causes the other end to break loose. So now he's like, well, how am I going to get down there fast enough? And he's like, slides down. It's like he's got to think on his feet, got to think outside the box, and of course he gets it reconnected just in time as the lightning hits, and he gets shocked by it, but they timed it just right. It works out in the end.
Yeah, and he didn't die somehow.
Yeah, he's wearing
all
gloves.
that energy.
He had the gloves on.
Yeah, and of course
they also milk the car, just like dying in that exact moment when the bell rings on the dashboard. It's like just like these little moments that they're milking that tension. Like there's no real reason for the car to just turn off in that moment, and then he just hits his head on the steering wheel and it turns back on. It's like
great method.
It's a little ridiculous, but each one of those moments is designed, these like little problems within bigger problems, to really get the audience like scooching
on the edge of their seat,
closer to the edge of that seat. Yeah, it just does it perfectly. The pacing of that scene is what makes it so great.
Yeah, the editing, cutting back and forth between them, it just is like you're thinking like, well, what's going on with Doc? Well, what's going on with Marty? What's gonna happen here? And then it just happens all of a sudden. It kind of just shoots right past you at the last minute, and then you're like, oh, did he make it? Yes, he did. He made it. There's the trail of light, and then of course you cut to
he's in a building.
Yeah, he crashes into the building,
and the car's fine. he was going 90 miles an hour into the front of the movie theater or whatever it was, and somehow there's not a dent on the car. That always, I thought that was weird. And you see him back the car out and the car's fine. That car would have accordioned into the side of that building.
Yeah.
Hey, American made.
Hey, yeah. No.
And you see
American made.
No, that car was made. That car was built in Ireland.
What do you think? So we're like at the end of Doc Brown's story here in the first film. What do you think it is about his character that's so like endearing and likable? Because he's such a special guy in this. Like, what's special about him?
I don't know.
It's just a cool dude.
Yeah,
he's very interesting.
Yeah. He's like over the top. He's very animated. He's quirky, and he's in many ways he's kind of the awkward, sort of as awkward as George is, but he's much more extroverted. He's still a loner and doesn't really associate much with people, but he's not ashamed of it either. He's not. He doesn't feel insecure about it.
No.
You see how he's like using his hands like he's a conductor, like that's how Christopher Lloyd wanted it to be, and it's over the top. It's like ridiculous. It's like, nobody acts like this in real life, but that's what makes it so fun. Is he's not supposed to be like a normal person, and you see the relationship between him and Marty. It just feels very genuine. The fact that Marty should feel really weird, being around this guy, like how he talks, the way how he talks and acts and flails his hands around. It's like, he's a weird guy, but it's a cool weird.
Yeah,
he's not afraid to pursue science and everything, and he's just in love with the wonder that, wow, I created time travel. What? You can tell me all these things, but you shouldn't tell me because that'll impact the future. And my destiny, I might die, but to preserve the timeline, I have to. So he just really takes that sacrifice too.
Mm.
But then of course he decides, you know what?
Till he doesn't.
Who cares?
Yeah. You gotta peek.
What the hell?
What do you mean I get shot by the Libyans?
I thought it was respectable. Something I like about his character that I think is like, I think it's kind of funny. We mention modern cinema all the time, and it's like, everybody talks about how terrible it is, and they're not wrong. And something that's like also a lost art is just introducing characters that are very passionate about something and invest a lot of their own character, their own personality into their passion. I feel I can't even remember the last time I saw a movie with somebody that was very passionate about something, especially to the likes of this character here, Dr. Brown. And you just got to respect that. And his character, he invested all his estate, which obviously he had a lot of money, into his passion, into science. And he knows it very well. He's very, he wants to know more. He loves being involved. He's totally invested in that. And that's something anybody can respect. And, at the end of the day, he's also just incredibly compassionate and strong-willed. I mean, he drops everything to help Marty. He doesn't even know this kid, and he drops everything to help him. And like I said, on the clock tower, he puts his life on the line. And I'm excited for the next two movies to see what else we see his character do, because obviously I imagine he's going to be doing some more heroic stuff like that.
I'd like to go a step further with that. He doesn't change throughout the movie. He's the exact same guy as he is in the past and the future. It's not like, oh, Luke Skywalker, he was this young, hopeful Jedi, and now he's this absolute bum drinking alien titty milk all day. It's like he has no confidence. He hates everything. Like Doc Brown, like you said, he's willing to sacrifice himself for Marty. He would have done that in the past and the present too.
Yeah, his only real change is like he opens up a little bit. He becomes a little more receptive to learning a little more about your fate, because he's really like hard against that in the beginning, and then by the end he's like, what the hell? But that's really it. Like he is kind of a constant in both timelines.
Yeah. Here, let's move on. Let's quickly comment on this. Not like a big thing, but how, like, okay, I guess the only one, Luke and I, we were the only ones that watched this for the first time today. So I guess maybe we'll be the only one that talk about this. How surprised were you, Luke, that Dr. Brown actually survived being shot? Because I remember when I saw that, I was like, I really thought he was dead. I mean, he looked dead. Like, him being shot was, it was a huge moment, because that was something that weighed on Marty the entire movie, being in the past and being with the doctor. And then it turns out he wasn't even dead after all. And there was just so much tension that was formed because of that. And he didn't know if he should tell him that he's going to die in the future or not. But at the end of the day, he didn't die anyway. But at the same time, he also didn't die because of the note. It's a very strange situation. Were you surprised that he didn't actually die?
Yes, I was. Right before you saw what he was wearing, I was so frustrated, along everyone else. I was like, all of that was for nothing. I was so upset. I was like, why would they do that? And then I was like, there has to be a catch. And then, there we go.
Well, obviously, I was like, yeah, of course he's going to be alive because there's more movies. But I thought maybe there'd just be something else. But no, he actually kept the note. It was either he kept the note from the beginning, or he went back in time to get the note. I'm not really sure. I don't think it was.
Yeah. No, he definitely kept it. It wasn't like
you think he just
because it was taped together and like super old.
Okay.
But just imagine the stress of that day of, I'm gonna get shot today. Let me make sure I get shot in the chest, and just still go about my day and do everything like normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here, before we move to the next chapter, I'm not going to pin all these chats, but it's the funniest thing. Oh, my, you know what? I respect the chat right now. I love you, Boica, but you're wrong this time, Boica. You're wrong. And this is great conversation. Boica is hating on Toby, and the chat is supporting Toby. But, Boica's making solid points, but he is wrong. Boica, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Just think of, what's his face? Gosh, what's his name? The guy who's in There Will Be Blood.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, he's not in that many movies. I mean, his movies are obviously bad. His movies are masterpieces. I get it, and he's a master. He's a master actor. But I'm just saying, he hasn't been in that many movies, and Toby hasn't been in that many movies. But I know they're different. But Toby's performance is always great. He's always great.
Daniel Day-Lewis hasn't been in that many things, but the movies he's been in.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Toby's just been dealt a bad hand, people. That's what it is.
I don't
I'm
feel
not.
bad for
I am
Toby.
not comparing him to Daniel Day-Lewis, people. I'm not. But I'm just saying he hasn't been in many movies. That does not take away from him being a great actor and and the best Spider-Man and the only Spider-Man. It's not just the best Spider-Man. People, he is the only Spider-Man. There hasn't been a Spider-Man since him. It's been so long. I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. Where's Spider-Man? When are we getting a Spider-Man movie? I see they release Spider-Man movies, but they don't. That's not Spider-Man.
Dealt a bad hand. He's Spider-Man. Have you seen his girlfriend as of late? The guy's got a great hand.
Let's
dealt a bad hand.
This discount. He's obviously known as an actor, but he's also done a lot behind the scenes in the producing world.
Oh.
And I know this firsthand because in 2005, I actually worked for his production company in LA.
That's cool.
So I know there's a lot of hate going on with the Toby right now, but just because he wasn't in front of the camera doesn't mean he wasn't working on things. He was working on a lot of things behind the camera. So
that's cool. There we go. All right, Bobby, put it to rest.
Yeah. So
that's good. That's good.
Guys earned his stripes.
Here, let's go. So we'll go to the final chapter here. It's hunky dory. Everybody's back home. Marty, he wakes up in a much nicer house. His present from the very beginning is a very different present than it is now, based off the choices he made in the past. He changed a lot of things, which could have really altered a lot. But at this point, his father, George, he is now a confident, successful science fiction author. Lorraine, she is now fit. She's not fat, because they keep talking about how fat she is, but she's not fat. They're going on and about it. It's this is not, you don't know what fat is. Fat is very different now. That's for sure. But now she's fit and happy, and she's sober. She's not drinking anymore. And Dave and Linda, they both have good jobs, and they're happier with their lives. Funny enough, Biff, he is now a detailer who waxes the McFly's cars. He's now working for him. He's doing petty jobs, and now George is kind of making fun of him a little bit. And Marty, he reunites with Jennifer, very happy, hunky dory, just like time didn't pass at all. And just as they plan a drive to go on their trip, the DeLorean reappears. Now there's it has this futuristic hover conversion and garbage fueled Mr. Fusion device thing on the top. So now it's not taking plutonium, which is nice. And the doc bursts in and urges them, both Marty and his girl, to come with him to the future because their kids are in trouble, thus ending the film with "to be continued." So that's the end, and it's pretty happy segment here. One question I have about the way things were with George and Lorraine, his parents, is, don't you think if deep down George has an ability to be confident and to be strong-willed and to step up to the plate, don't you think they would have found that out over the last 30 years? You know what I mean? Before this change has been made, they're still miserable together and they don't get along. Why wouldn't they have found that strength at any point in those 30 years? I think that's kind of a funny thought, but obviously this is a different time. But generally, just overall, you're thinking about the movie. Why do you think Back to the Future has stood the test of time for as long as it has?
It's so well done. There's so many different plots going on. Everyone's a likable character in it, and it's just one of those things that just shows the effort of Hollywood back then to really just, every line in it is crafted so perfectly. Everything, all the callbacks pay off in the end. We're not open-ended, anything like that, and it just worked perfply.
Yeah, and then there's universal themes that run throughout a film like this that you can watch and relate to. On top of all that, of it being crafted so well.
And it's everything in it, just the flow of the movie just works so seamlessly. It's you have all these different parts that, for most writers today, or, if you want to call them writers, most of them aren't real writers, they would just mess it all up and jumble it all up, and also because the studio would mess with them with the editing process, the production process. The great thing about this film, why it ended up as good as it did, was because the studio didn't have any faith in it to begin with. They're time travel movies don't make money. So when you have two writers like Zemeckis and Gale who are so passionate about the story, and they put years and years of hard work into it, and they finally get the go ahead to make it, because the studio's like, no one's going to want to watch it anyway, but we'll let you guys go ahead and make this film. I guess because you got a contract or something, or because, well, Spielberg wants to spend the money on this, so like he can do whatever he wants, but it's going to be a bomb anyways. And they didn't really interfere with it. They didn't step in or try and mess with the editing process or the filmmaking process or anything, which is something that you see more now than ever, which is why so many of these films that could be really good end up being either mediocre or just crap altogether. And so you had the right ingredients combined with the right people, the right filmmakers and directors and producers and actors, and also great artists as well, visual effects artists, prop designers, all these people that worked together just perfectly and created a great film.
If you guys had to close, if you guys could change anything about the movie, what would you change?
I had something earlier on. You guys go and I'll think of it.
You would have made the movie about his girlfriend, Jennifer.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. Try to, I guess, find a way to bring her into it. Like she comes to the past with him, and then all of a sudden, like you got, Lorraine basically.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Wow.
Like, trying
That's
to
a
get
whole other
rid of her.
layer.
Cat fight.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Maybe a moment between Marty and his father, a little sentimental moment, something like that, though. Because I mean, what opportunity you're gonna have to talk to your dad, and maybe if anything, give him a nice pep talk.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd really add much to this movie because it is so perfect. But if I had to pick something, maybe just like some touch and moment like that, just a nice little quote.
Yeah. Maybe like you have a brief moment at the end of the film, like you were saying earlier, where they take one look at Marty and think like,
You look familiar.
yeah, like, doesn't he kind of remind you of that kid, that other kid, Marty? Like, and they're like,
Although it would be weird in that moment, because for Marty, he's seeing everything for the first time in this new future, but for them, they've been living it for 30 years. So it'd be weird for them to kind of just in that moment just be like, hey, you can, there's a lot of little things here and there, but this movie's like top 3 of all time for me. So there's not much I could really I would want to change. I mean, it's like stupid little thing. Like you think back to when Marty first shows up and Doc is in the truck, in a car that's in a sealed truck, and it's like, how did he get in there? Like there's like this much room on the sides for him. Like, obviously, like I know they're gull-wing doors, but like, how did he get in there? It's was he just waiting in there this whole time for Marty to show up? It's like, it's just like nitpick bullshit. But in terms of story and craft, it's like it's up there for me. It's almost perfect for me.
I kind of want to see the version where it's a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Just how do you make that work? Especially like the third one. You're just going to have a refrigerator being pulled by all these horses.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think that sums it up for us, everybody. Not much to change. I really can't think of anything either. I'm looking in the chat and nobody really has anything to say either. Rebel, it's good having you in the chat, Rebel Rose. I'm glad you're able to join us. Actually, that doesn't really make sense here, but yeah, she said she didn't have anything. I can't think of anything either, which is a great thing. This is something Nice Proctfile said. It was a milestone movie, one of those rare combinations of new filming techniques, decent writing with universal themes, and a great title. Yeah, right? Back to the Future. That is just a great title. It just makes you wonder what that means. And you learn.
That wasn't the original title.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! This is the biggest super chat we've ever had. Boica, wow, $50. Let's go. Man, Boica, you're treating us good. I appreciate that. Wow. Toby, man, why has it got to be about Toby of all things? All right, it's still
Don't bite
happy.
the hand that feeds.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Toby sucks.
Wow.
This is the consensus. He's got a lot of power through this statement right here. $50 from our friend Boaca. Thanks, Boaca. Oh man, this just puts the whole chat to shame. Like the chat can't beat that. I'm sorry, the chat can't beat that. So Boaca says Toby is less than Tom Cruise as the greatest in their franchise. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that. I mean, Tom Cruise has had a lot of big hits, of course. Mission Impossible, Top Gun, Taps, The Outsiders. Stop with the Toby. There's a difference between someone who can carry a franchise and someone people think could. Ooh. He did carry the franchise. He carried Spider-Man. I mean, that's big. Spider-Man, the Spider-Man trilogy is bigger than, I think, Mission Impossible. I think it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Practice City, your new favorite color is pink.
yeah, that's my new favorite color. Yeah, yellow. I really like I love yellow, but now I love red, man.
You got to do a whole stream now dedicated to Toby.
That's right.
The films of Tobey Maguire.
So
you've done that before, right?
I did the video a long time ago.
I still say Andrew Garfield was the better Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ian. You and me both.
You have the right to be wrong. That is correct. You have the right to be wrong.
So do you.
Oh, you're right. I do, but not in this moment.
Andrew's much more meaning to him,
Oh,
plus, he felt like he read the comics. Andrew Garfield read the comics. He knew the character better.
Yes.
Plus, he felt like he gave the character more personality. Like that moment in the car with the car thief. He's like, if you're gonna steal cars, don't dress like a car thief. That's exactly how Peter was in the comics, and you didn't really get that from Toby. He wasn't as talkative. He didn't make as many quips or jokes like that.
I can't take it.
Thank you.
Plus, Andrew Garfield felt more like a teenager, than Tobey Maguire did. Tobey Maguire, they were both guys.
Tobey Maguire's like a 30-year-old teenager.
Yeah, and
I will definitely say this about the Tobey Spider-Man movies: is they really screwed up my perception of the high school experience. I saw the. I saw them and I thought we would look like that. It would be like that. Nope, it's nothing like that. All the high schoolers look like babies. Yeah. I love Toby. Toby taught me so many things. He's always been one of my role model characters in anything I've seen. The films, it's not just Toby that makes them special. You have Harry, Mary Jane, Aunt May, and Uncle Ben. And they are just a great ensemble. They work off each other so well. The Andrew films don't have that at all. Aunt May sucks. Gwen is okay. And then there you go. There's your two supporting characters. Congratulations. Harry is awful in Andrew's Spider-Man. Harry is great in Toby's Spider-Man. And you can't beat the heart Toby has. I've never been more inspired to stand up to the challenge despite everything weighing against me than Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies when considering superhero films, okay? He brings that heat. And you know what? He's not quippy, he's not joking and bashful, saying stupid crap because he is focused on the goal at hand. He puts the correct cause above the theatrics, and the theatrics come as a secondary motion to the most important thing of all is saving the person. And he puts his life on the line for that. And as a character, as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker, it's peak 100% A+ golden.
You know what? That whole statement just made me want to agree with Bohica even more. Like,
you are the worst. You are the worst. I'm gonna get you. Bro. And that's it. No more talk. No more Tobey Maguire talk. That's it. Ending on a high note. Thank you, Boca. We greatly appreciate that, Boca. The biggest super chat the channel's ever had. So thank you, Boca. You're always very, very generous. We appreciate that. Helps fund a young man's dreams. All right, but that's it for us, everybody. We just had a very passionate Tobey Maguire rant at the very end. If you like the other films, no hate. It's just when you talk about Toby, it's very sensitive matter here. Very sensitive. Don't get me started. But I appreciate you all joining us here. It was a lot of fun talking. I did not think we'd go on for almost 3 hours. That's really surprising. I'm wiped. But next Tuesday, we're starting a little earlier, people. We're going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern time next Tuesday because Random's going to be joining us. And we are going to be talking about Alien 3. Ooh, should be Kyle, Random, me, and Luke. And yeah, it's going to be good. Our classic Alien panel is back. I have not been wanting to watch this. I've been regretting, or I've been ruining the day, but here we are. It's finally here. We're talking about that this upcoming Tuesday. Be sure to join us 6 p.m. Eastern time, everybody. But in case you haven't yet already, please check out all the great channels that are here today. Hardcut, Bobby, Matt's not here. He's not here to hate on Back to the Future.
There's not a bad thing he would say about.
Oh, he'd love it. That's good. He says good. And Ian Morrison's here as always. Good to have you on, man. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out his channel. And World War Joe, always a pleasure having you on, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, so be sure to check everybody out. Links in the description below. And if you liked what we had to say, I greatly appreciate if you gave us a thumbs up at Box Office Brawler and hit the sub. And we'll catch you next week. We appreciate all you guys. And never forget, give them the Duke and give them the dog. Peace out.
What kind of person are you? Are you the kind that sees signs, sees miracles? Or do you believe that